You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austin Show.
Well, look at Augusta National here on a Friday morning, and we are back from Augusta, Georgia. And round one of the Masters is now in the books for day number one, which actually had to be completed on day number two. Bryson DeChambeau in the lead, and Scottie Scheffler right behind. Max Homa was up to 6 under, one behind, but he finishes in that Tiger Woods group at 5 under par, bogeying the last. Tiger Woods bogeyed the last as well, bogeyed 2 in this morning session where he had 5 holes to go. He was 1 under coming into Friday, and now he is 1 over after round number 1, which all in all is not that bad considering for Tiger Woods, but it would have been nice to get in at even par or even 1 under. But you could tell the difference between turning around from 8 o'clock last night to being on that golf course at probably 6:30 this morning to warm up takes a toll on the body for old Tiger. Plus, it was a little cooler this morning. He'll have to turn around, play 18 holes. They'll get it in. They'll make the cut by this afternoon, by the way, and into the evening. And then we'll have a Masters weekend with fantastic weather up there in Augusta. We are live at BestBet St. Augustine. Good to be back here. We'll be here today and again next Friday. So come hang out with us. Doors open here at BestBet St. Augustine, and you can have some lunch with us around noon. In fact, we're planning on a Kentucky Derby party where we're going to have a studio audience, and we'd like you to hang out with us up here. So more details to come on that. We'll have some giveaways, fantastic prizes, probably a day you don't want to miss. That will be on May 3rd. Which just happens to be Steph's birthday, too, so we can come celebrate Steph's birthday as well. Let me help you out over there. What's up?
Appreciate
How are we doing?
You, man. I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
Yeah, good to see you again. You guys survived the last couple of days.
Yeah, we had some fun. You know, we discovered a brand new Shock Your Mock song that's probably going to go platinum, so we're excited about that. Had some funny, chats in the comments, so that was going good. Yeah, it was a great time. It was great to have Casey back for a little bit. Kind of relive those glory days, if you will. And yeah, I think Hamby would agree it was a lot of laughs.
Now we send him into the abyss for however long until he comes back again.
We send him back into the bullpen until we have to call him up again.
Yeah, and Hamby as well soon enough. We'll be sending him into the news bullpen for a few weeks on that side. That's part of his gig as well. But he does join us today on a Friday, so good work with you guys. And we'll keep you updated on the second round of the Masters, and I'm sure you're keeping an eye on it too. But you can come watch with all the TVs here and hang out with us and grab some lunch, grab some of those fries, full menu, and get your weekend started in fashion here at BestBet St. Augustine, right off 311, right off 95, exit 311. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Jason Hamby, Brent and Austin on a Friday, take you until 1 o'clock. And it's been quite the week in Jacksonville with the Josh Allen story. And, of course, you guys talked a lot about it. I got to think a lot about it. and last night I actually put out there how impactful of a player will he be, has he been in franchise history? Like, if you think about impactful players for the Jacksonville Jaguars over the years, I mean, you go all the way back to Tony Vaselli, right? And then you get Fred Taylor and Mark Brunell, and there's so many, I think, in that era of the Jags, the early Jags, because they had so much success. I mean, Tom Coughlin from a coaching standpoint and building it, it takes on a little bit different meaning. I think if you go on the last 20 years now that number starts to shrink down a little bit, right? From Maurice Jones-Drew, who you played with, to Calais Campbell in 2017 and 18. Listen, Jalen Ramsey was a super impactful player for this football team. It wasn't didn't last long,
correct,
but he was super impactful. And I think Josh Allen now, 2019 to 2024, 23 really, now sets the table to be that guy as he signs this extension, second-year guy. I think it might have been, I don't know if it was Casey or if it was Hamby that said this week, he might be the line in the sand that separates the old Jags to the new Jags era. And I kind of like that he might be the marker. And, of course, Trevor Lawrence and other players will now follow suit and be a part of that. But Josh may have been kind of the Pied Piper in that sense.
No, he really will probably be that, because when you talk about those other guys, I mean, whether they're the Maurice Jones-Drews, the Fred Taylors, I mean, there was a lot of success before, they signed that contract. Not to say that Josh Allen wasn't part of some success, but it wasn't consistent, right? And we kind of broke this down a little bit when we talked about Josh Allen signing his contract, where this team hasn't re-signed a lot of first-round draft picks. And that's a very telling story, and that's a story that you would think is going to be changed now. So I do agree where I think Josh Allen's going to usher in a new era of more consistency, a new era of, obviously, I think, of just building a better culture and building, hopefully some playoff teams for years to come. And he's really going to be the architect behind that. And I think in terms of the type of guy that he is, and we've talked about this so much, and you've seen it in the press conference, this is a team-first type of guy. I think some players play football for a lot of money. I think some players play football for Super Bowls. Some players play football for legacy. And obviously, it could be a combination of all three for Josh Allen, but I think it was very telling in terms of how many times he mentioned his legacy, how many times he mentioned being a Super Bowl MVP. I think that's very telling in terms of this guy's not satisfied yet. This guy wants a lot more, and what a better captain, what a better driver you want ushering into a new era.
Yeah, I think you said it well. I think all those things are true about Josh. And now he's got to listen. I keep saying this. There's a responsibility now for Josh Allen to go out there and be that guy. Like Trevor Lawrence he had that responsibility from the day he walked in, contract or no contract, to be that guy. I think the quarterback has that. Not all the time do position players have that, but when you get paid this kind of money, you certainly take on that ownership as well. I think there's a responsibility that comes along with it. I don't know if they like that, but I think they would put their arms around that. I think a guy like Josh Allen does put his arms around that, and I think it's not just going to be about the money. It's more about what his legacy will say and what else he does. Now, Kevin said Josh Scobie, Fred Taylor on that list. I mean, I don't know if a kicker can be on that list as much as we love Josh.
Yeah.
Josh has been an impactful guy in the community and everything else. I don't want to shortchange it, and he was obviously a heck of a kicker too, but I don't know. Here's the deal. You don't want your kicker being that guy. Mm-hmm. You need other players to be that guy. Mm-hmm. And the kicker can kind of follow suit. For a while there, Josh kind of was the guy. He was the most popular guy on the team. He was the guy that performed the best. That's not really how you want your team to be built. We get this one in from Dr. Rogers. I like Josh Allen. I'm glad he's on the team, but this is the first year that he met the expectations we had for him. The fact that it happened in a contract year doesn't make me feel confident that it's going to continue. I don't see the body of work that you all credit him with. And I responded, I said, see, I think that's where everybody's wrong on Josh. I think that's where the organization was wrong by not giving Josh a deal before this huge year. I think that's where the fans, some of them that thought, hey, Josh, whatever, I think they were wrong because Year 1, 10.5 sacks. Year 2, I think it was with the injury. Year 3, ho-hum maybe. But year 4, this thing was brewing. And I thought really good year for Josh Allen in year 4. And then obviously the monster really good year in year 5. So if you take a look at his career, 1 he lost mostly because of injury. And 3 other ones I think are really good on the resume. And 1's just a monster year that separates. And I also just don't think these guys turn the green light on in the contract year. I understand a lot of guys do.
Oh, yeah,
but like Caleb Von Chason didn't have 8 sacks in a contract year. Like he wasn't able to do it. And he got playing time. So it's not automatic for these guys to do that.
But I mean, I think Josh Allen said it himself. Like he changed up the training a little bit, went to Arizona, and I think he realized that it was a big year for him that he had to capitalize, and he did everything in his power to do that. I understand hindsight's 2020. But like when you look at the numbers though from Josh Allen, like 2022 he had 7 sacks, right? And obviously, I disagree with what that guy said on Twitter. It was on Twitter, I assume? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with what the guy said on Twitter in terms of, his rookie year, he kind of showed you why he was a first-round pick, right? 10.5 sacks, came out the gates hot. I mean, when you go back to 2022, 7 sacks, could you have justified paying him top 5 money?
No.
Could you have justified, paying him top? Because that's probably what you were talking about. Top 8?
He wouldn't have. No, I don't think he would have. I think that's the thing. I think everybody talks about Trevor making hey, go get him now because it might be a little bit of a deal. I don't believe with that position, Austin, that you get the deal right on a 24-year-old quarterback that you're signing early. I do think you would have got a heck of a bargain on Josh if you did all. Now, what that bargain is, I don't know. It still might be $18, $20 million, and that might not even get you in the top 5, 10, 15. I don't know where that marker is in the NFL, but I think you would have saved a bunch of money if you had the foresight on this. Heck, look, I mean, Brian Burns had just signed a 5-year, $150 million deal, I think, and he's coming off an 8-sack year.
Yeah, So, what would you give him that much money?
I wouldn't have gave Josh that. I think that's a little bit this year, and the salary cap going up even more. But, yeah, I think I would have last year. I think you could see it brewing. I think that's a little bit of the responsibility of the front office is to take a look early to maybe avoid the situation that everybody was so frustrated with that you couldn't just tag Calvin Ridley. But again, that's here nor there. They've got him, and we'll see what they do at wide receiver. I do believe that even the wide receiver portion of this could play out better for the Jags if they're aggressive and make the right move and have a younger guy, a 26-year-old Ayuk or a 25-year-old Higgins or a super young guy in the draft if things fall the right way. So I want to see that play out before we're too critical of not bringing Calvin Ridley back, which we'll talk a little bit more about Ridley today because there's interesting comments coming out of Tennessee. So, yeah, I mean, listen, it's to each their own how you want to do this. The fact is they got it done. More comments, by the way. On defense, he's chasing Brackens, which, of course, he is from a record standpoint, but it's getting close and almost a given that he'll do it. Rashean Mathis, I think, again, he'll be in the Pride someday. I think he's the most underrated Jaguar maybe of all time, and I think he is. Rashean's got like 32 interceptions, I think, in his career. Darryl Smith, Mike Peterson, Donovan Darius.
Yeah, I mean, Darryl Smith sticks out to me as the most underrated.
And he is. He's right on that list, and a lot of these guys are. But I don't think it's going to take long. If that's the list, Brandon says, I think Josh is going to pass those guys pretty quickly in his career.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And again, I mean, maybe he doesn't, but I think he's certainly pacing to do so. Let's see, what else? I got another one coming in. Baselli, Fred Taylor, Jimmy Smith in terms of impact. I get it. That era, there's more impact players. There was one more I wanted to get to. Frank Gore, very good, Jacksonville. Very impactful player on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nate agrees with me. He's elite. He was in 2022 as well, even though he just had the 7 sacks. Somebody tweets Blake Bortles from an impact standpoint. I mean, I know in 17, but I don't think he'll ever.
You paid him like it.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the truth. And how about Coach Ripley here, coming in big with 10 of them?
Jeez, okay.
Fred Taylor, Jimmy Smith, Tony Baselli, Marcus Stroud, MJD. He's got Josh Allen 6th on the list already.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence, Rashean Mathis, John Henderson, Paul Posluszny. Okay. He made a top 10.
Wow. Amazing.
And Josh already has a chance to go by them. So, listen, it's that big of a deal this week. And I guess like you guys talked about it a bunch and everybody's talked about, we've talked about it. We talked about it for a long time. But I think it is worth noting in hindsight now that it's been a big week in Jacksonville. I mean, this is a monster deal. I saw something else. The Jags have extended or spent the second most amount of money in free agency this time or this offseason. I didn't realize they were that high, but I guess the extension of Foye, Ezra Cleveland, this one is huge. Who else did they do? Gabe Davis. And then, of course, some of the other smaller ones. But, wow, I mean, they've spent a ton.
Yeah, and the ironic thing about that is, the last thing that Josh Allen liked was a tweet talking about, the Houston Texans spending a lot of money to try to go after what they want. And now, well, with Josh Allen getting paid, one could argue, hey, the Jaguars are spending money as well. You know what they say, scared money don't make money. I think the Jaguars are at least showing that they're all in terms of trying to right this wrong and turn it around and compete with, I think, the Texans for an AFC South division.
What does it say to you? I think there's a bigger story there. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's bigger story when you put the numbers. I forget who was Carolina Panthers were number one on that list. And like they're in a similar situation. Like they did such a bad job with Bryce Young that they had to say, hey, we got to go get this guy a better football team so we know what he is, right? Trevor Lawrence, I feel like they're doing a little bit of that right now and saying, hey, we know it's a huge year for Trevor. So, and here's the numbers. I mean, the Jacks spent $339 million. I think this is an important note right here that we have up because you just mentioned all in, and I think we say that here from BestBet St. Augustine, that I think we kind of casually say that.
No limit.
But I think there's a bigger story to that. They are all in. Why are they all in? What's so important this year about being all in? Well, last year's collapse, this is an answer to that. I think Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson, I mean, if it goes sour this year, look out.
Correct.
Right? Yep. What does it say about your quarterback? You're about to, actually, I'll throw the stadium in here, hopefully get a deal done with the city, and that's going to put an onus on the city of Jacksonville and the fan base, and we're all in this together, extend the lease, all that stuff, right? I mean, that's a big part of the story that the Jags are going essentially all in. Now, Doug Peterson told me at the owners' meetings, hey, we always have our chips in. But there's difference. When you have your second most spending in the National Football League, your chips are in a different way.
No, they definitely are. But once again, I mean, I mean, are they thinking about this stadium right now in Doug Peterson's office or Trent Baalke's office? I'm not sure about that, but what I do know is
Shad Khan's checkbook might be thinking about
Shad Khan's checkbook could be thinking about that, but at the end of the day, I think everyone's got their own narrative here. I think if I'm Trent Baalke, yeah, I have to do everything in my power to try to show, hey, I'm trying. This is me trying right now. It almost reminds me like the Eagles are up there too as well with Howie Roseman. And I think if you ask any Eagles fan when that season started this past year how they felt about Howie Roseman, they're ready to create a statue for him. They were ready to have a victory parade and haven't even played a game yet. Now, he's got a lot of talent there, but then all of a sudden Sirianni gets all the brunt of it because, well, they didn't achieve with all that talent. I don't think Trent Baalke has that luxury. I don't think, obviously, this fan base here in Jacksonville is all aboard the Trent Baalke train quite yet. And I think some for good reason, some because maybe it's just a funny narrative that we follow along with on Twitter. Nevertheless, I still think Trent Baalke has to prove himself. So I think that seat is a little warm for him right now. And with Doug Peterson, everyone picked the Jaguars last year to win the division, and they don't. And they don't go to the playoffs. And the Houston Texans make themselves known. So I do think with Doug Peterson, and injuries aside, Trevor Lawrence, maybe not right where we quite want to see him be yet, tied to Doug Peterson, I think there's some pressure on Doug Peterson as well. So if I'm both those guys, I look at it and say, we got to do everything in our power to make sure we have all the pieces necessary to be successful.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note as we look at this screen, forget about Carolina, but Jacksonville, and you said it, Philadelphia is interested to be in here in those same situations. They're feeling it a little bit, right? You got to go get it a little. You got to be aggressive. Well, look at the AFC South. Tennessee at number 4, Jags obviously at number 2, Houston at number 6, and then Indy comes in at number 10. Yeah. Hey, man, they're spending in the AFC South. Right now, people are trying to keep up in the AFC South. It's pretty fascinating to watch how these teams are really getting after it.
Yeah, well, because I think it's up for grabs. Houston has showed that. All it takes is one good year of a turnaround, and you can win a division title.
That is an enormous amount. Look at the amount of money spent. 600, 800, over $1 billion in the AFC South.
Yeah.
This month. Mm-hmm. Really in about a month, probably a couple months, but.
And what does that all have in common? They all have quarterbacks on the rookie.
Young quarterback. Yeah, you're right. So you can still do that. But I do think, I think this says, we talk about Baalke. I think you're right, by the way, on Baalke and Peterson and everything else. Let's can't go sour. I said it's one of the most important off seasons of all time for the Jags. Gene Fournette, we had on the owners meetings. He thinks it's the biggest one. And obviously the Jags think it's a big one, with everything going on. And while I agree with you, the stadium stuff it's more of it's not a surface level thing. Mm-hmm. I think it's more of a subconscious thing. And I think it's going to be a lot more fun around Jacksonville if they do the stadium deal and then they have a big year.
Yeah.
Right? That's what some of this momentum going on until that late season collapse was going to help with that.
Yeah. New stadium, big year. Maybe tease some new uniforms.
Maybe a little bit of that
there for the picking.
There might be there. Now, I will say this, just as a little sidebar, Kansas City Chiefs won 3 out of 5 Super Bowls, and they weren't able to pass their record.
Well, no, without a doubt. Every city's different, I feel like. They've won how many Super Bowls, and the facilities are ranked last still. So, yeah, there's some teams that are just, there's no rhyme or reason to it, but you would think in Jacksonville here that people would come on board.
But, Austin, let's go one guy that we don't talk a lot about in this context. Okay. We talk a lot about Trevor, we talk about Doug, we talk about Trent, we talk about where the organization's at. I do think the stadium's an interesting one right now, but we don't say a lot about Shad Khan. Mm-hmm. And one thing about Shad Khan, and you get it, right? You get the record, you get the angst a little bit at times. They haven't been totally able to flip this around. I think we might be headed there. We might be. We got to see what happens in 24 and beyond. Yeah. But this franchise, I've argued, is positioned in maybe the best shape it's ever been in. But even when they were losing, he's a willing spender. He's willing to cut the check.
Sure.
That's an ownership thing, by the way. When you're talking about these kind of dollars, there's a lot of bonus money that you've got to be able to write the check to keep it off your cap and all those things. That's the way this goes. So not everybody's willing to do it.
Yeah.
Now, it's the game you play. And most everybody almost has to do it now in the NFL.
Of course.
But he spent, I think, a record going into the 2022 season in free agency money. I want to say it was like $170 million. And now here we are on this list again. And they've been on this list. I think if you go back the last 10 years or there's a 5-year sample, I think the Jags are 1 or 2 on the biggest spender list. So you got to give them some credit for that.
No, I mean, listen, I'll give Shad Khan credit for that, but I don't even look at it as him spending that. I look at it as him investing that. Because, like, look at how much the Jaguars, like, whether it's in Forbes or whatever you want to talk about in terms of, you know, their net worth of how much this team, how much this franchise is worth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's drastically gone up as well. So, I mean, like I said, sometimes you got to spend money to make money, and obviously Shad Khan is writing the checks, and more power to him because it shows that, you know, he is committed. But at the same time, as a businessman, because I think he's more a businessman than a football man, I think as a businessman, he's looking at, okay, how do I invest here? How do I invest here? And I think he may finally have got it right with terms of Doug Peterson. We'll see how this all shakes out. But I think there's two sides of this. As an owner, as a leader, yes, you have to spend money to make money, but you also have to hire the right people to help facilitate that. You know, and whether it's Doug Marrone, whether it's Urban Meyer, maybe you haven't had the best people to do that from a consistent basis, and now you hope we can go forward that, hey, we finally do have a great guy in Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke. Well, we'll see how that goes.
All right, a couple more football questions we'll get into throughout this show. Like, what does Josh now have to do? Like, really, we kind of hinted at that a couple weeks back, but what does he have to do to live up to this, in your estimation? I mean, we're talking about funny money almost when we're talking about $30 million a year, $20.5 million a year, I think is what it works out to be. The other thing is, what's more likely to happen? The Jags trade for a receiver and pay that guy big bucks, or the Jags give Trevor Lawrence the deal this year? We'll get to that in just a couple minutes. We're live, Best Bet St. Augustine. Come on down, join us. We're here this Friday, which is right now, and we're here next Friday as well. And we're planning on a studio audience, by the way, on May 3rd, the day before the Kentucky Derby, right here at Best Bet St. Augustine. We'll have some giveaways and prizes, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're putting that together. We'll have that announced for you in the next couple of days. But put it on the calendar, May 3rd, here at Best Bet St. Augustine as well. There's a lot of good days to be right here. A lot of good days to be right there as well. The baseball grounds, 121 Financial Ballpark, and the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp on a homestand. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part, they did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnik Buick GMC. my family, and the Nimnick family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnick Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnick Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains, and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnick Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained. And they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Oh, these weeks are just flying by, and we got an update. I got a picture sent to me while I was at Augusta. And Dave Wax, who doesn't mind playing that Pac-Man machine, he might have more hours on the Pac-Man machine, by the way, just for the record.
I believe I've seen I've stopped in the studio. I don't want to snitch on him or anything in the evening.
No snitching.
And he might have been in there.
He's an after-hours player.
After-hours player.
Yeah, and 93,000 he was up to.
Pac-Man After Dark.
Yes, so he's coming for my number, which means I need to get playing to hold them off.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, Dave. That 93,000 to 105,000 jump, it's a big jump.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
I figured because, the fruits are worth a lot more then, so
yeah,
you have an advantage.
You got to get lucky.
Okay.
It gets intense.
Okay.
You feel the pressure.
Yep.
Like it's tricky on Mixed Pac-Man. So we'll see if he's able to get it. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane, Jason Hamby back in the studios. Welcome to BestBet St. Augustine here on a Friday. Come on down, get your weekend started early with us. Man, these weeks are just ticking off quick. We're inside 2 weeks now till the NFL draft. Another beautiful weekend. Supposed to be beautiful weather for really the foreseeable future here in Jacksonville, which is nice. After yesterday, a tornado touchdown, really just north of here in World Golf Village. So seems like everybody got out of there okay. A little bit of damage, but tornado in April here in Jacksonville actually touchdown. I think they said that was an EF1.
Okay.
It's a weather term.
Okay.
And
how many? Do you know how many Fs you can get?
5.
5. Okay, gotcha.
5's a nasty one.
Oh yeah, F5, like the Brock Lesnar finisher move. I gotcha.
Yes.
Well, that's what he calls his finisher.
There you
Makes
go.
sense now because he spins them.
There we go.
Learn something new every single day.
Is that why? That's
Thanks
why.
to wrestling. Yeah. Shout out to wrestling for teaching me something about weather.
Oh, and me.
And you too. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, we're talking about the Jags and Josh Allen. I want to stay on a bit. We got some interesting stuff from Mel Kiper. Also, Colin Cowherd on Calvin Ridley and the Titans raises some interest too. So we'll get to that in just a bit. But I wanted to stay. And you guys might have talked about this, and I hate to duplicate if we did, but I'll bring this up. One of them I don't think you guys talked about. But did you guys discuss what he has to do now?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what does he have to do? Like, is it a metric? Is it what it looks like? What do you do when you're a $30 million guy now or a $28.5 million guy, the richest guy in Jaguars history until Trevor signs his deal? Like, what's the onus on you to deliver?
Hamby, the Kids Corner, I take this one real quick because I was a little shocked by your answer.
Yeah, I said I needed 60 sacks over the first 4 years. And I know 15 per is a lot, but if, you're going to be the second highest paid edge rusher, I feel like that's what kind of we're paying you for. And I feel like there's a little leeway there if, he's at 13 averaging a year and, Trayvon's game is improving because of, Josh Allen absorbing some double teams. So Trayvon's got 13 or 14 and Armstead is up in the 9-10 range. So a lot of it I feel like is going to be based off of the total sack production of the line as a whole and how Josh Allen impacts that. But I am going to be looking for an average of 15 a year for 60 over the first 4 years. Now the fifth is a different story, but 60 over the first 4.
Wow. It seems like such a big number, but Hamby, I don't know if you're that off by saying 15 a year, like on average. Now, again, you got to hope health is a thing, and I think you bring up a good point, not really just about Trayvon, but I do think a guy like Armstead is going to get, I think they're going to get some more on the interior. Mm-hmm. Now, does that equate to more on the outside as well? Maybe it does, but I think it might come from more people. You got to remember last year, the Jags, whatever they had, I don't know if they had 37 sacks, something like that. 27.5 of them came from 2 guys.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see more of it spread around, which could take a little bit away from a guy like Josh. But even if it takes a little bit away, maybe 14, 15 is right there. You have another monster year, 17, 18, they start to average out. Maybe he's not wrong, but if he does that, before the end of this deal, he would be over 100 sacks in his career. And now you're talking about a dominant football player in the National Football League.
I mean, you're talking about TJ Watt, essentially. Watt, 2023, 19 sacks. 2022, got hurt. Only had 5.5, but 2021 was the breakout, was just 22.5 sacks. And then 2020 was 15. And then 2019 was 14.5. So, you are making more than TJ Watt. So you can justify saying, hey, Josh Allen, we need 15 a year from you at least. And you know what? The more you talk about it, the more I can come on board. Here's what I think. I think it's a plus-minus thing for having a guy like Eric Armstead and also Trayvon Walker. Because I do think last year Trayvon Walker was focused on a lot in, offensive meeting rooms. I think he was considered a game wrecker, even going into his second year. So I don't think Josh Allen saw as many double teams as maybe people thought you were going to see because, well, you had 2 solid bookends, and that makes things easier. When you add now that interior guy, well, now you have to account for Eric Armstead. I guarantee when Eric Armstead is on the 49ers, every offensive coordinator in that meeting room put him as a game wrecker. And one would assume coming to Jacksonville, he's still going to be a game wrecker. So you can't just focus now on Trayvon Walker. You can't focus just on Josh Allen. That focus has to spread out a little bit. So it's going to leave Josh Allen opportunity to get quarterback sacks and get home. But also, it could take some away in terms of, does Trayvon Walker emerge now? Even better off last year's number. Does Eric Armstead now add finally some of that interior rush and get some quarterback sacks? So I was more under the 12, 13 a year. If that's the floor, and maybe you have one breakout or one crazy season of 17, 18, or maybe a couple seasons, I'm happy with that. But if I think this defensive line is going to do what I believe it's going to do, I'll be happy with 12 or 13, and we can go from there.
Yeah, I hear you. And then occasionally you get back to that monster season, right? Like I think that's where you can average out a little bit. But
I'm saying the floor has got to be 12 or 13.
I agree with that. I think that's a fair point. I think he's got to impact football games, and I don't know if the numbers will always speak to it. Again, the numbers didn't speak to everybody else in 2022. watching Josh play in 2022, I thought it was there. So, but now you're paid to close, and you got to close. Do you think he'll take a step back at all because of the new defense? Like, will it take an adjustment, or do you look at a new defensive scheme as potentially part of the reason they signed him? Part of the reason they got a guy like Nielsen is because he can actually make him even better. Now, will he make him better to 19 or 20 sacks? I don't know, but you get my point. Does he go forward in this defense right away, or does it take some adjusting that he might even go backwards first?
I mean, all things that we've heard. Boye Lucan spoke on this a little bit. I think it's going to be a defense that's going to rely on its speed. It's going to rely, I don't want to say simplicity per se, but it's not going to be as complicated in terms of zone coverages and you're dropping back here. So anytime you can simplify the game for somebody, it's going to give you that much more confidence because now you can just pin your ears back and go. And I feel like that's going to be Ryan Nielsen's style. And it's not like Josh, I mean, at the end of the day, for Josh Allen's standpoint, he's playing the edge. He's going to rush the passer. Like that doesn't really change in terms of his job. So I don't think it's going to affect Josh Allen too much. And if anything, if we see some more blitzes, if we see some more maybe just other guys getting involved, it can only help him out.
I got one more thing about Nielsen and Josh Allen. I don't know if you guys caught this, but Jaguars.com put out a little behind the scenes. It was a cool little piece, 2 minutes or so, with some interaction from Trent Baalke and Josh is a kid, Doug Peterson, and the family and Bill Shuey, and then he met Ryan Nielsen, and it was kind of like, hey, good to meet you.
Yeah,
good to talk to you. Like they hadn't even talked.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you at all?
See, I thought, isn't there like some kind of dead period where you can't talk to players though? Because that's what we had back when I played. Now, I don't know if that's changed.
I think it is. Yeah.
So that's what I assumed that was.
I didn't know if it was because of that or the contract stuff.
Sure.
Where you just don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because obviously Boye has talked to.
But I think you are allowed to, hey, coach, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah.
Type stuff.
Okay.
But they hadn't even done that. Like, yeah. I mean, it was probably like a text message, but it sounded like there was like zero communication. So it just kind of struck me a little bit. And you're right, because we had Foye on. I think he had, I don't know, had lunch with him or something like that, or sat down. Now, Foye was in the building a little bit more. Josh, with this contract stuff, wouldn't be in the building. A lot of guys go in the building this time of year and do their own thing. I mean, they got the facility to do it and work out and all those things. So some guys don't. And Josh probably is one of these guys that hadn't, because it looked like he hadn't seen anybody in a while.
Yeah.
But it did catch my attention. I was like, is this part of the negotiation, or is that kind of weird to me that these guys we're sitting here on the verge of off-season conditioning starting on Monday, and they haven't even said hello to each other yet.
Yeah, I mean, it could be considered that. Once again, I don't know if it's just because they're working out the deal, if coach wanted to just let him focus on and that's obviously not him focusing on it, but if he just kind of wanted to let it be until he knew more, if he bringing Josh Allen back or not, what's the plan going to be? So, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how to read into it. I think some coaches maybe like to meet first in person to, shake your hand and stuff like that. And obviously Josh Allen wasn't around, so that could be considered. But, yeah, I didn't think too far into it, but it does make sense now that you mention it.
One other thing I looked up yesterday in making my argument about Josh, and it wasn't just a one-year thing. He's just not a one-year wonder guy. I looked up since 2019, since he entered the league, and he is 15th in the National Football League in sacks over a 5-year stretch.
Okay.
And I think I wanted to say he was 5 or 6 sacks away from being 8. It was pretty jammed up.
Sure.
In that 8 to 15. Now there's 2 guys like Watt and Myles Garrett are kind of way ahead of the pack. There's separation there, and then basically 3 through, I don't know if it's 15, 18, whatever, are in kind of this same thing, separated by maybe 6 or 7 sacks.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty interesting to me, because I say, you guys were having this discussion yesterday or Wednesday when I was listening about receivers, right? About the Justin Jefferson stuff, about, hey, there might be 25 really good receivers. Well, if you look at 25 really good receivers, it really averages out to, well, that's 1 per team, or less than 1 per team. Yeah. If you look at 15, really, if you're in the top 15 of any category over the last 5 years, that's 1 for half the league. If you average it out, which in this position, you're probably not going to have 2 of those guys anyway. So you have something that half the league doesn't have. To me, that is elite, or at least a separator. And how many times can the Jags say over the last 15, 20 years that they've had somebody in the top 15 in the National Football League in a category?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's definitely, well, especially when you look at Trayvon Walker, too, where you have two guys. I mean, that's even more rare. So, yeah, it's definitely something to be coveted, and obviously you paid accordingly. You know, I mean, with the numbers, the injuries taken into account, maybe some players got hurt, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, I mean, 17.5 sacks, 17.5 sacks. So, and you can't deny that. You can call that a flash in the pan if you want, but I just go back to his second most important year to me, which is his rookie year.
Yeah.
Because he showed that. And yeah, it helps having Calais Campbell and helps having other players alongside you, but I mean, players strive to get 10 plus. Because players, if you get 10 plus, that next contract, then, if you can be consistent with that, is going to look pretty juicy. So 10 plus really is the goal. And to get that your rookie year, I think, speaks volumes.
Yeah, and I just thought that part was it. What I tried to find, and I couldn't find it, and somebody maybe can look this up. I got to a point, and there's a lot of guys in this category, but then I think I counted the first 25, and then I couldn't continue on. This was for 2002. I was looking for how many people in the history of the game have had 17-plus sacks in a season.
Okay.
Like, that number's got to be pretty small. I mean, the history of the game, we're going back. Now, sacks have been counted since 1982.
Sure.
So that's still a 40-year sample. And there might be, I mean, let's just say there's 50 guys.
Yeah.
But that's what we're talking about. I mean, about 50 guys. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
And then if you would start adding, okay, who's had two of those kind of years?
Yeah.
So if Josh can get another one of those years.
Well, yeah, and that's what it's all about, right? Because I'm trying to think, was it Shaq Barrett for Tampa Bay?
Did he was kind of one-year wonder-ish, wasn't he?
I mean, he had, like, maybe decent years, but, like, he had that 1 year. Well, I want to say it was, like, 20, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I know he led the league, and so he had 20-something, and then, I can look that up real quick. So, yeah, consistency is the main thing, right? Like, with TJ Watt, you see it year in, year out. You know, if he's healthy, he's going to get you 15, 16, sometimes 21 and a half or 22, whatever the case may be. If you can do it at a consistent basis, yeah, you got something there.
Hey, Hamby, let's bring you back in because I like your point here. I mean, 60 sacks. Again, you started looking at that. Now, Josh would have played at that time, if he does this, he'd played 9 years in the NFL, which is still a young guy at 30 years old at that position. Keep in mind, like Calais Campbell, Eric Armstead, those guys just got paid again, or that Calais got paid at that age. And so you could play another contract out, like another 3 years maybe. But that'd be like 100, 105 sacks. I mean, already into that category. It's taken Calais a few more years to get to that 100. He finally did it this past year. But, Hamby, it seems like you have confidence that he can do it. Like, he is that kind of player. And it doesn't hurt that he's got some help along that line to be able to get the numbers. This is not going to be a one-man show.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of goes back to what Austin was saying. It's going to be really tough to double-team Josh when you have Trayvon and Eric Armstead maybe on the other side. And I think it's really going to – I mean, you could argue for the first time in Jags history, franchise history, where you look up and down that line and everybody else is helping everybody else. There will be games where Josh Allen takes over and he's getting home because Trayvon is wreaking havoc on the other side. Maybe Trayvon doesn't get home, but Josh has 2 or 3 that game. Maybe the next game, Eric Armstead has an insane push on, the right guard, and it's throwing the right tackle or the left, whatever the case may be. Josh Allen is right there to just almost to clean up the mess, and that's why I think a lot of it is because I believe Josh Allen is that good of a player. But it's almost 50-50 where the other half is just that the other guys on the line are going to be able to help him out with so little focus on him that, 15 is right there for the taking.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think again, it sounds like a lot over that span, but I think it's certainly attainable, reasonable to think that way. And I think what the other part of this is now let's watch where Trayvon Walker's career goes. This is going to be an interesting year for him because he is an ascending player, it looks like. I mean, just based off the numbers. And I really love what he did the second half of last year. To me, the second half of last year for Trayvon Walker was like the second half of 2022 for Trevor Lawrence. You could really see the jump. Like, it was consistent. It was every week. It was different level than we had seen in the previous, say, year and a half of their careers, which I thought was awesome. And hopefully we see more of that from Trevor, but hopefully we continue to see that from Trayvon as well. I'm going to flip it around. Speaking of Trevor, what's more likely to happen in this offseason? because you might have no more big moves. The draft might be the move that the Jags make. I mean, they've made a lot of moves. More likely to happen, Trevor gets paid, or the Jaguars trade for a receiver and pay that guy.
Jaguars trade for a receiver and pay that guy. I can't. I don't know why you would pay Trevor right now, because we've talked about this. I don't think it's going to be a discount per se. So you're essentially going to pay him, would you say top 5?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay, so you pay him top 5. Has he played like the top 5? Well, no, he hasn't. So you pay him a top 5 thing, and then you almost lose a year now because, well, you have him on a new contract. Or you can go another direction, get him a weapon, and then see what he has this up-and-coming season, and then act accordingly from there.
Yeah, Hamby, what do you like here?
I mean, I think it makes more sense to extend him after this season, but I wouldn't be that worried about losing the year on the rookie contract as long as you do something as a weapon. That doesn't necessarily mean, going and signing Ayuk or T. Higgins to a $100 million deal, but as long as the receiver or the weapons room is addressed, I wouldn't be that concerned about losing the year. But it does make sense to just wait one more year as long as the deal gets done. I wouldn't be mad at all if in the next 6 months before this, or 5 months before the season gets going, where he resigns the deal. But I do agree with Austin. It makes more sense to wait.
So basically what you're saying is, okay, go get one of those big receivers or get a weapon in the draft, and then okay, fine, if you want to sign Trevor, sign Trevor. I actually think, I'm handicapping this thing a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think both are reasonable expectations to do. I still feel like, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I feel like there's another move left before the draft. I don't, and that's not inside information. I just feel it. I feel like all this stuff, the timing. I mean, the first question I asked when we were on the other day and you guys were on and I joined you about Josh Allen was, what's the significance of the timing? Mm-hmm. Why right now? And that leads me to think that there's something else coming down before the draft. Now, what would that be? It's way more likely than that's a trade and be aggressive there and go sign a young receiver. And now you've got 25-year-old Gabe Davis and 26-year-old Ayuk, or 25-year-old Higgins, and you've got Trevor Lawrence, and you take care of that whenever you take care of that.
Yeah.
But I also think that's the harder thing to do. I mean, you got to dance with somebody on that. You're not just giving the stuff up. It could be an expensive piece. The dollars don't matter now as much, I don't think, because of what you've created. Mm-hmm. But I do think, what's the worth, right? What's the capital? What can you come to an agreement? Now, keep in mind, why does San Francisco make sense? Why does Ayuk make sense? Obviously, a guy like Trent Baalke, he's been there before. I don't really think that's a tie. I think Ethan Waugh is more the tie, who's the assistant to Baalke, and he's been there recently. He's been there with Ayuk. He would know that player. Yeah. And so you have a relationship which automatically makes, okay, doing a deal potential, and then you have a guy who's familiar with the player, so knows how much they'd be willing to give a guy like that. Yeah. So to me, Ayuk makes more sense than Higgins if one more were to go down. But I just feel like something's going down. That being said, I would probably handicap Trevor's deal getting done as more likely because I think it's easier.
I mean, yeah, I agree. It's definitely easier because you're playing ball in house, and I think Hamby's kind of played both sides here, where he understands that you could let him play for another year, but he also gets the fact that maybe you could sign him this year. So you guys are kind of on the same page here. So then, let me ask you guys this question. What do you have to gain by signing Trevor Lawrence right now? What's the positive?
I think there's probably 3 positives, in my opinion, right off the rip.
Okay.
One is for the player to not have to worry about it in what's a big year. So you take that off.
So you're okay.
Because there's a natural, I think, there's already a pressure on that quarterback, but there's a natural thing, like Josh just experienced it. I mean, there's got to be a little pressure playing on that contract year, right? Sure. Now, he's not truly playing on a contract year because he's got the 5th-year option and everything else, but he's playing on a lottery ticket. I mean, Trevor is. I mean, because the difference between, the 5th-year option and what you would get paid in a contract is massive.
Of course.
So he's playing on a lottery ticket. I think you take a little bit of that off his plate and say, hey, we love you. We're committed to you. We're putting everything around you.
Okay, so big pressure off him.
I think it benefits, I'll always say, the locker room, too, because I think they believe in him. Like, this is not a Blake Bortles one where I think it was a little bit more divided. I don't think it's divided at all in that locker room. I think they know he's the dude. I think they know he's the guy. They believe in him. They like his leadership, and they would applaud him being paid. I do. And lastly, my guess is, but this is more dollar-wise, it probably isn't a bad time to do it now that you've freed up a bunch of money this time. You can start separating the dollars over time now versus next year, although there'll be plenty of flexibility next year to do this deal, too.
Okay. Gotcha.
You don't agree with me, though, it doesn't sound like on the locker room stuff. You think they're playing him prematurely and that wouldn't go over well?
Well, no, obviously it's going to go over well because he's the quarterback of your team. If you pay the quarterback of your team, you say, hey, you're going to be here for years and years to come, that's great. Like, yeah, I think players would appreciate that, but also I think that you have to earn your money. You know, like, I think players would celebrate Josh Allen because, well, I think players would think, like, hey, you had 17.5 sacks. Whether people want to say on the outside, you got paid, congratulations. I mean, I still think people would celebrate Trevor Lawrence getting his contract because now he's in Jacksonville, but there's also going to be a narrative of saying, well, okay, you paid him top 5 money, but did he earn it?
Yeah, and listen, that's a fair question, something to ask. I feel like that's less of a thing around this situation than it was around Bortles' situation. In hindsight, Bortles getting paid actually, I think, was a big domino in what transpired after. Now, there's a bunch of dominoes, but I don't think some of those players in the locker room, the Telvin Smiths, maybe even the Miles Jacks, definitely the Jalen Ramseys, love the fact that Bortles got paid for the reasons that you're saying before others got paid, right? Or I think even a guy like Brandon Linder was in this boat. You know, he had been hurt a little bit, and they took care of him, and and then you had the Jan situation. Like, I think if you add all that up, I think the Bortles piece was, again, it was a pretty divided Jacksonville. Never mind a divided locker room on the Bortles thing, whether you should pay him or not.
But how many years did he have left on his contract, though?
Bortles could have played on that option.
On the option.
Same.
Trevor still has the year this year, and then he has the option. Yeah. So you essentially still have 2 more years to see.
But I guess
you wanted.
You could. I'm just saying there will become a tipping point where you're like, you could view it the locker room the other way, where you're saying, hey, you're going to pay the guy or what? Or are you going to hold him hostage?
No, I understand. I mean, with the Bortles thing, you make an argument and say, okay, maybe the skill set wasn't there, but hey, the guy led you to how long? Like, I mean, how long in the playoffs, and you were 1 play away from going to the Super Bowl. So I think if the Jaguars go to the Super Bowl, Miles Jack wasn't down, all that good stuff. I don't think it's even a debate of do you re-sign Blake Bortles or not. Maybe it is, but I don't think it is. And keep in mind, like you said, he had 1 more year left. So it was more of like, all right, you got to make a decision because you got your guy here. Are we going to reward him for what he's done? Or are we just going to say, hey, let's see it again on the 5th-year contract? With Trevor Lawrence, you can say, hey, let's see it again this next year. And if you really wanted to be stingy, you can say, well, let's see it again another year.
Yeah, but Hammy, what do you think there, man? Because keep in mind, this is real deal stuff. Like, Austin's been in those lockers. There's a reason why Austin brings this stuff up. I mean, what it says to the locker room, how the locker room responds. And I think it's crystal clear. If you go, when I do that Saxonville documentary and how it fell apart, I think this will be part of the storyline. I genuinely do. I think there's enough info out there that says, hey, that Bortles deal and some of the other deals before some of these guys got paid, that did not sit well with some guys. Whether that was an immature look at it from guys like Yannick Ngakoue, Jalen Ramsey, and others in that room, maybe that's a debatable thing. But it might also have been a real thing, right or wrong. And so I think, I love the tweet, Hamby, from Trevor Lawrence, because I'm big on this phrase. The Jags tweeted out something and said, well-deserved. And Trevor retweeted it on Josh Allen and said, well-earned. And I think there's a huge distinction in those 2 words. I think a lot of people in life and a lot of people in every walk of life and every job, whether you're making $30 million a year or $30,000 a year, think they deserve stuff. And I love to hear Trevor say the earned part. And so I think it's worth asking the question, would the locker room feel like he has earned a deal to be paid as probably one of the top 5 quarterbacks, Hamby, in the National Football League?
Yeah, I think I'm See, I see Austin's point where, the play on the field, strictly on the field, has not resembled or earned top 5 money. But I think with Trevor, you have to consider some of the off the field franchise quarterback, the leader of the team. And I think where a lot of the players would be seeing this, if it were to be done this year, as in the next couple of months, is, okay, let's look at Justin Herbert. Okay, he got paid top 5 money where his play was really good. It wasn't top 5 play either, but he was the leader of their team.
He had top 5 stats, I think you would say.
I'd have to go back and look, but I think I think they're more comparable to Trevor than they are your top 3 guys. But I don't want to, get into the weeds. But I think they're looking at deals like that, Justin Herbert, and saying, this is our guy. He deserves and earned this money. Now, I agree that, this year will be big for him. We haven't seen him play top 5 yet. We're waiting to see that. And I think Austin's right there, 100%, that it would be worthwhile for the Jags to see how he plays this year before giving him the contract. But the other aspect of it, and I think Jags Twitter fan base almost goes a little too far with this, but I think it's worth mentioning, is that if he does what we think he can do and will do this year, to sign him now would save money. And you don't want to really do the timing and a whole year's worth of waiting over what would end up being maybe just, a couple $1 million a year. But every year we see the QB market almost reset and up and go up and up and up. So just to jump ahead of that, you would be saving even maybe up to like $5-6 million a year.
Yeah, it's interesting, and you're going to pull up the numbers on Herbert in a minute. I'm going to give you some other numbers, but just to put a bow on what Hamby said there, or at least this kind of part of the conversation, I find it fascinating when you're going to give us the Herbert numbers. They're going to be very good. He got paid. Mm-hmm. A guy like Burrow got paid because of what it looked like, but also because they were able to get to the Super Bowl even though they didn't win it. That's really why he got paid, in my opinion, at the time he got paid. The Jalen Hurts. Did he earn it? He really played well for a year, was an MVP candidate, made it to the Super Bowl, boom, got paid, right? But it was off the Super Bowl year. I'm looking at Josh Allen right now when the Bills, he signed in 2021 just to a $258 million deal, I think it was at the time, which is nothing. But if you look, he had a miserable first year overall. First year wasn't great in Buffalo. A lot of people thought he was going to be a bust. But then he really starts tracking, right? He goes, they went 5-6 under him. As a starter, he was 10-6 in 19 and then 13-3. Okay. If you start adding up the numbers, he went from 10 touchdowns to 20 touchdowns to 37 touchdowns. Went from 12 picks to 9 picks to 10 picks. Yeah. So, by the time he had signed that deal in that offseason, after I think it was 3 years, it was 37 touchdowns, 10 picks, 4,500 yards. They were signing him off that year. I think what you're going to get to here in a second, not to steal all your thunder,
you're good.
But the fact that he's coming off the injuries and the collapse and the way this is a weird time just from a feel standpoint. Maybe less of how you believe in him standpoint.
Yeah, if you go back to Justin Herbert's numbers, his first year he goes 6-9. Okay, now not making excuses. There's some injuries, but hey, you go 6-9. That's not a winning quarterback. But then I see your numbers, and you threw 31 touchdowns and 10 interceptions and 4,300 yards passing.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
And he got thrown into the fire there.
I think a lot of teams would take that. You go to his second year, then he throws over 5,000 yards. Say no more. You're getting paid.
It sounds right there.
That's it. By the way, he threw 38 touchdowns and 15 interceptions.
Yeah, he's interesting because he was paid off the numbers, not the results.
Sure.
Right? The other guys have been paid, I think, off a combination. But really more Burrow hurts.
Burrow's got the numbers, though, too.
Burrow has a lot of numbers. He was on pace. So without the injuries and everything else, he'd have really enormous numbers, probably more like Herbert.
2021, over 40. He had 4,600 yards passing, 34 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Next year, follow that up with 4,400 yards passing, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's the best way to say it. These guys have not been paid. They've been paid at the time where it feels the right time to pay them.
Correct. Yeah.
I think there's some hesitation right now in Jacksonville that is this the right time to pay Trevor? Not that you think he's going to be the guy or not, but is this the right time? Coming off 3 injuries in 6 weeks, coming off a collapse, not getting that year yet where you've seen the 35 touchdowns and 14 picks or 12 picks. Just haven't been able to see that yet. The yards are there. There's some better play there, but he hasn't had that monster season like Hurts did, like a Josh Allen did, like a Herbert did, like a Burrow did to maybe get in that class just yet. So we'll see what the Jags do. Again, I'll repeat what I said about 15 minutes ago. I think there's another move coming this offseason, but maybe even in the next couple of weeks. Now, I don't think Trevor's getting signed in the next couple of weeks. I'm not predicting that. I think if he were to get signed, I think it would be closer to the season. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like there's one more domino to fall this offseason. It's been such an aggressive offseason. I've got this feeling, this instinct, this gut that one more is coming. And I would assume if that is the case, it's going to be a trade. In my opinion, it would be for Ayuk in San Francisco. Yeah. And the Jags go there. And one other reason why the Jags maybe should go there is they've been terrible at drafting receivers, and so has Balky in his career. So it's better to go get the safe guy and pay him.
Yeah, it's better to get the safe guy. We've talked about this a little bit before, but also you're not sure how the draft's going to shake out. Like, you have some capital. Could you move up? Possibly, but then do you still guarantee to get maybe a game changer right away at the wide receiver position? I don't think you are. I think there could be a quick run on wide receivers in this draft class. So if that's the case, then yes, go with more of the sure thing. Go with a Brandon Ayuk or go with a T. Higgins.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good. You can control the situation. Correct. Essentially, what you're saying. Yeah. Speaking of receivers and corners, Mel Kiper has another mock out, but he also had a conference call, and I thought it was interesting. A couple of things that he said about those positions. Plus, Calvin Ridley in Tennessee. How big of a year will it be for him? We've got those conversations coming up. We're live at BestBet St. Augustine. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Jason Hamby, the Brent and Austin Show here on a Friday. We'll be here next week as well on Friday. We stay 10 a.m. until 1 p.m., so come join us for lunch. Table games, get in the big weekend game as well at the poker tables, and you can watch the Masters all weekend long on the TVs right behind us and hang out with us on a Friday. Get your weekend started the right way. BestBet St. Augustine, the Brent and Austin Show.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
I'm Action News Jack's First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. While the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Community. That's who we serve.
It's the people. Yeah, it's the people.
Demanding answers because the truth matters.
When are you going to do the job?
Listening and getting help to those who need it.
I just appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
It's about telling stories from deep inside our neighborhoods, informing you, building connections, tracking storms.
Serious storm situation, the kind of which we rarely see.
Holding people accountable.
You were getting at the truth.
That's who we are. Action News Jax.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Tiger Woods finished his round this morning, his first round, had to play 5 more holes. He looked good yesterday for the most part, made some critical up and downs on 11, 12, 13, but then bogeyed 14 and 18 today, couldn't make a birdie, and he was 1 over after round number 1. Now he's already back out on the golf course. Let me see if I can find him and give you some updates on how everybody's doing here on a Friday at Augusta National. He is even through 2 holes today. And the cut right now, it looks like it's going to be 2 over. It's top 50 in ties. It's an 89-player field. And I think the scoring could get worse. Like, the wind was legit. There's this thing in golf as we welcome everybody back to St. Augustine. BestBet St. Augustine. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. Brent and Austin show on a Friday. Come on down, have some lunch, get your weekend started, and play some table games. And we'll tell you about some big events going on this weekend and also next weekend. Part of the reason we're here today and next week. And then we've got maybe a big studio audience show with some giveaways and prizes and freebies for you coming up in early May. We'll tell you about too over these next couple of days. But I think in golf, it's funny when I listen to it. It's the sport that I think the announcers play up the drama more than anything else. And I don't mean like the drama of coming down the stretch and it's a great race between a few players. And there's some of that. But I think so many times, as you're listening to a broadcast, you're like, oh, this shot is so hard, like this, the wind and the lie. And I mean, you gotta clear the mound on the green and the slope. And it's like, you just create, it's a tough shot for me. And then the guy hits it and he hits it to within 2 inches. It's like, dude, this shot was never that hard for this guy. 9 out of 10 times he's doing that. You and me, we might do it 2 out of 10 times. So I don't get it. They make these shots sound so much more dramatic. What I'm getting at is yesterday the wind was legit. Okay. And at Augusta, you can't, different parts of that golf course, it swirls. You can't feel it in some areas. You can't feel it in the others. So I can see why that little element of doubt creeps in the mind of a player and hard to trust some things, especially with some of the nuances of Augusta. Word is the wind will be similar today. So I think we'll get even higher scoring today, and that could push the cut line even down another notch. So if you're looking for Tiger Woods to make the cut overall, I think he's going to have to shoot like 1 over, maybe 2 over in this second round, which might be a pretty good score, is what I'm getting at, especially for somebody like Tiger coming back and competing. Do you care if he makes the cut?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit yesterday where me personally, I'd like to see him make the cut. I'm still a big Tiger fan, grew up with Tiger. Really the only reason I got into golf in the first place was because of Tiger Woods. So I would definitely like to see him make the cut. It's an overall vote, though, that we are not a fan of the logo.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, and not a fan of the logo placement either.
The logo placement doesn't bother me, but like I agree with you guys in the sense a little bit of it's our eyes, right? The swoosh, the Nike, the Tiger, like he wears Nike better than anybody, maybe outside of Jordan.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And so there's significance there, but I don't necessarily mind where the logo placement is. I agree with you guys. I think Casey said it. If you didn't know that was Tiger, would you know it's a tiger? To me, it looks like a bridge.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah.
And I don't know if he'll have time. Like, I don't know if he'll make that iconic or make that clothing line like jump crazy because I don't know if his golf's going to support it.
Sure.
You know, if he goes and contends this weekend or in a major this year, well, then all of a sudden, or people are just going to buy it because it's Tiger. He does have that impact, I know, but I'm talking about like to the next level where you then identify 5 years down the road, like that logo with Tiger. Yeah. How long will that take?
I mean, it's going to take, excuse me, it's going to take a while, but also he's got to have success with it as well.
Right?
The reason why Jordan was because, well, look what he was doing in the shoes. You know, like now he's still popping, don't get me wrong, but like, the whole mania took part because of, well, the guy's winning championships. The guy's dunking. The guy's doing this, doing that. In golf, I mean, you can have great shots. Nobody really cares. You got to win tournaments.
Hamby, what's your take on Tiger Woods? I'm interested in 23-year-old guy on Tiger. I know you're not a big golf guy, but, I mean, you don't have to be a big sports guy to know the iconic names and kind of feel the iconic nature of somebody like Tiger Woods. Do you care if he makes the cut? Like, do you want to see him play? Like, you don't have to be politically correct here. It's okay.
Well, first of all, guys, I want you guys to take a look at this. My dad texted me after the show and says, Tiger's gear reminded me of this from back in the 80s. I think I had a shirt at one point.
Oh, yeah, the polo shirts, man. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Vintage. Yeah, those
that
made like
they're
up there with like Lacoste or whatever because they kind of made a big comeback in the 90s.
Yeah.
With Tiger. Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's good.
But anyway,
retail industry founded when I was born in 1977.
There you go. I do care if Tiger makes the cut. I don't care. Like I said yesterday, I don't care nearly as much as you do, as most golf fans do. But like yesterday, I was watching, and I just flipped over like on Masters.com. Like obviously you can watch featured groups. Obviously he's always going to be in the featured groups. I do agree with Casey's point. Just like, hey, if he's not really in contention on the weekend, I don't need to see him all the time. And we understand why the Masters are going to feature him no matter what. We get it. We just as younger guys, we don't need that. I obviously do want to see him make the cut. I would love to see him make a run because it's like almost one of my last chances to see what you guys saw. And I think a lot of people my age kind of are in that group of, we understand that he's great, but we didn't see it for ourselves. And we know that he's never going to get to that level again. But we would like to see a glimpse of what you guys saw when he was during those years of just unbelievable greatness.
Well, yeah, Brent, you've been proud of us yesterday, man. We spent about 25 minutes talking about golf yesterday.
Well, you should have. That's good. You owed it to the wrestling, non-wrestling.
The live golf topics wouldn't have made you happy, but just saying, we talked about it yesterday.
Okay, so here's the deal. First, Sam, let me answer. Let me just comment on what you said. You're not going to see that Tiger. Like that chance to see that Tiger happen in like 2019, maybe 2018 when he came back. See, a lot of people think the Masters is so significant, which I do. I mean, I get the significance of the Masters in 2019. I think the shot or the image that I have of Tiger in his comeback, the one more chance, to your point, Hamby. Like, I always wanted this for Ty. Ty likes golf. Like, he's a sports fan. Like, I wanted just give us one more. Like, give me one more because I'm selfish and I want to see Tiger one more, but give, like, my kid just a glimpse of what it was like for us, like in the early 2000s, or what Tiger really meant up until like 2008, and then all the stuff started happening. I mean, you cannot duplicate that, but give us just one more little taste of it. And well, we got it. We got it. I thought at the Tour Championship. To me, the image will always be of the comeback part will be when he won the Tour Championship and he had that swarm of people following him up the golf course on the 18th hole in Atlanta. You remember that?
Sure.
I mean, that is the sight. Now, the Augusta is a totally different thing because will he win another major again, everything else. Like, it absolutely adds to it, but I'm probably one of those in the minority here that I actually put more weight on the Tour Championship win than I do on the major championship win because the hype, it just went everywhere with social media. Everybody was, I think, locked in for a few minutes or a few hours to watch Tiger. Like, holy cow, he came back and he won an event, right? And he won that event. It's a pretty big event. And then he did it again in 2019. I'm going to surprise you guys here. Like, I don't care as much as I thought I would if he makes the cut. There's a little bit of, and there's very few people have been bigger Tiger fans in front of a microphone than me over the last decade. I always thought he would come back and win one, by the way. I always thought he would come. He's just too gifted, and he can do it in golf. Like, he might still win another one. I'm not convinced he won't. Like, he could win this event, really, because this is the event to win. You only have to beat 88 other guys, and you know the golf course so well. There are 20 guys playing for the first time. Well, you can almost take the first-timers out. Now you have a field of 68 that you've got to beat. Okay. Like, you shrink the field so much at the Masters that you could win that, and he knows that course so well, and he can still play around, and I think that's why you see some of the old guys contend on the leaderboard in the first couple of rounds. Tiger is going to be that guy. But what I really don't need to see is him laboring around the golf course like he looks like he's 70 years old. Like, I really don't. Like, and I get it.
You're going to get me started up, Brent.
No, like, I get I think I'm going to be on your side here.
Okay.
Every time, like, it's like, oh, how's he walking today? How's he doing this today? I'm like, listen, Augusta's hilly. It's actually a decent walk. No, it really is.
Okay.
It's a decent walk. By golf standards, it's a decent walk. But it is still golf. Like, I've seen fat guys walk up 72 holes and not be like...
Carry their own clubs, too, by the way.
Yeah, and not like hyperventilating by the end of the tournament, right? I get Tiger puts a lot into it. I get his body's beat up. But I'm a little tired of that part of it. And, okay, like, this was probably a challenge for him. He went to bed last night. He got off the golf course at 8. He was back on at 7. It's a little cooler. So can you get all the treatment, the recovery? Like, that's real deal stuff for a guy who's been handling injuries.
Yeah, he's an athlete.
He's Humpty Dumpty. He's been put back together. I mean, like, seriously, like, that's tough. I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
But, like, we are analyzing his walking. And, he's really laboring.
Don't say we. I could
not
care
we.
less.
I mean, as a golf world.
Okay,
like,
gotcha.
we are. And it's like, I don't need to do that Saturday and Sunday. Like, let's just watch the golf. And here's the deal. I also know he's not going to win. So, like, I don't mind watching him, but let's stay off the he's really laboring today. You can tell the ankle's hurting.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll give up Tiger playing on the weekend if a live golfer doesn't win.
Yeah. Like, listen, I don't know. There you go. Shots fired from Brent Martineau. I mean, I
don't need DeChambeau winning, okay? Like, he's not going to anyway. But
I said this yesterday when I was blacking out talking about golf for 30 minutes, whatever that was. I was really in the zone there for a second. But I don't care about the Tiger narrative of, he's hobbling because it's golf. All right? Like, yeah, I do care of a very old Mike Tyson stepping in a boxing ring and possibly getting damaged and ruining my childhood because he's not going to look the same from what I remember when he was in his prime. Yeah. I do care about that. I don't care about a golfer who's got a little bit of a hitch or whatever the case may be because his hip hurts or his leg hurts or whatever the case may be. It's golf, man. It's going to be all right. All right? Like, okay, it's wear and tear on your body. He's walking. He's walking, and he's activating his core. That's golf. You walk, you activate your core, you go tip your, people you got to tip, and you call it a day. So, no, I'm not worried about, Tiger Woods being on the back nine, pun intended. Let him play as long as he wants because it's golf.
Yeah, like, he can play as long as he wants. Like, that's a little bit of, really what you said about Mike Tyson, though, is not that different than the way probably I'm feeling about Tiger. when Tiger had trouble chipping, he was shooting like 80, 81. He went through the yips years ago when he was trying to make one of the comebacks. And it's like, dude, get him off my TV. I don't want to watch this. Like, this is terrible to watch.
But
like,
that wasn't because he was old. It's because he had the yips.
Well, it was because he had been out of the game so long, and there was some ailments still. I mean, his game was bad.
Yeah, but like he's not going to like. See, I'm worried about Tyson because like you're taking damage, like you're getting hurt, like it's going to affect your quality of life. I feel like.
Oh, so you're more impacted by that than you are of the scar tissue of him getting knocked down by a YouTube guy.
Yeah. Well, no. To me, it's more about like just the injury. I mean, it's both because it's not like who I remember. But no, I'm worried about the health. Yeah,
okay.
Health.
Okay.
Injuries.
Yeah.
Like you're what, 50, 60 years old? Like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be in a ring fighting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm saying from Tiger's perspective, it's like, how old is he?
48.
Okay, he's 48 years old. Like, if you play another 4 or 5 years, like, okay, your hips might go, your knees might go, but like, I don't think your quality of life could really suffer a lot by playing a couple more rounds of golf.
Yeah, I thought you meant ruin your childhood because Mike Tyson just got knocked out by a YouTube.
Oh no, that's not going to happen. They're wearing 16-ounce gloves and like it's a sparring event.
But I will say that's a little bit of for me, Hamby, and I don't know what player would have to do this for you, but it's like. You just don't want. I don't need to. He right now looks like he could hit the ceremonial shot with Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson, and Nicklaus is 84 years old. I mean, Tiger's 48. Like he's still like 25 years away from hitting that shot.
Yeah,
but he looks like he's like next year away from hitting that shot.
We have the comment of the week as far as I'm concerned in the chats right now because this just made me chuckle. Brent sounds like he's negotiating with a crack dealer for just a little more Tiger. You got to get that urge, Brent.
No, I
get that fixed.
I feel like I'm saying the opposite. Like I don't need it. I think 2019 did it for me. Like it was good. Like I think I'm satisfied now.
All right. There's an epidemic and we're done with it. We're clean.
I think I'm good.
You clean? All right.
Hamby, do you even have an athlete like that at your age? Like that you love that 6 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old. Like, I mean, LeBron could be that guy for you if you're a huge LeBron fan, right? He's getting into like how much you going to play? Do you want to see it go downhill? Like Tom Brady was this, I think, for your generation, Hamby, for the last, if you're up in New England. Do you want to see him fade? The beauty of Brady is even at 45, 46 years old, he never really faded.
Win a Super Bowl.
Which is really cool. Like, I bet there are Green Bay Packers fans that see this about Aaron Rodgers. Now, they might want him to fail right now initially.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't want to see him a shell of himself. Like, that's tough to watch your athletes a shell of themselves. And to be it's everywhere. Like, you can't avoid it. You can't not see it. I don't want that.
Yeah, I mean, we say that, but then, like, Barry Sanders retires and Calvin Johnson retires, and it's like, well, what? Come on. We want to see more.
I get that. There's a happy medium in there.
I guess there's a happy medium. Like, okay, you want to go out on top and not, like, I mean, to each athlete their own. Once again, when it becomes a risk of quality of life, I have an issue. If you want to try to hang on a little longer, I mean, will people crack jokes? Absolutely, but I'm not going to fault you for doing that.
Hamby, who's your guy?
I kind of have a weird one because I was still really young, and I missed all of his best years. But for me, John Smoltz was one of these guys where I caught the last couple great years, and then in 2009, I was only 9 years old. But he goes to the Red Sox and the Cardinals, and he's well into his 40s, and he's not even a shell of the same pitcher. He looks like he's laboring just to throw 80 pitches, and he's getting shelled. And he's already, maybe not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but a sure Hall of Famer. I'm just like, dude, I don't want to watch John Smoltz pitch anymore. I think a lot more of that was just I didn't like seeing him in another jersey, so I'm not sure if this really applies to
there's a little bit of that
certain scenario, but I think that was one of those where it's like, hey, man, like, we got it. We don't need to see you pitch anymore. You're good.
Hamby, was Griffey done when you were coming up or not?
Nah, he would have been done or done.
Well, Smoltz was almost.
Look, when was his last year? Because
like
I said a couple days ago, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Griffey was retired 1 year after Smoltz. So, like, I caught all of...
Oh, okay, oh, man.
I didn't catch any Griffey with the Mariners. I caught Red Sox.
Okay.
Or Reds, excuse me.
Reds. Okay, so you just picked Smoltz over Griffey. I'm not going to freak out or anything. We're good, Brent. What were you going to say? Sorry, I'm not going to lose my damn mind that we just picked John Smoltz over Ken Griffey Jr.
Listen, he's a Braves fan, man.
I don't care. I was a Brewers fan, and
Smoltz is a bigger deal. I think. Smoltz a bigger deal to him in Atlanta than listen, there are Red Sox fans are a bigger deal. Red Sox players are a bigger deal than Ken Griffey Jr. to me. I mean, that's just a part of fandom. It's you don't have to love Ken Griffey Jr. if you're a Braves fan.
But we're talking about the influence, though, Brent. You know,
I get it, but I mean, you don't have the emotional attachment to Ken Griffey Jr. if he fades.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of ball players that became commentators that followed the John Smoltz route and that they're inspired by him. I guess no kids were turning their hats on backwards wearing cutoff shirts at baseball. I guess that never happened.
This is different for every person. Like, that's fine. You got to have an emotional attachment.
Well, I don't have to like the person right now, do I? Hey, that's where I'm at. I don't like how John Smoltz got brought up over Ken Griffey Jr. That's where I'm sitting.
The bottom line here is that Smoltz's golf game was probably better than his pitching by the time he was in the Red Sox, and that actually is full circle on this conversation, going right back to golf with Tiger Woods and everybody else. I think it is. I think we all have those players, and some different than others because of the emotional attachment to those players.
I'm just trying to save the sport of baseball here, Brett. I'm single-handedly trying to put Ken Griffey Jr. on a pedestal, which I didn't think he had to be on, but apparently John Smoltz to some others the bigger influence.
Here are the leaders. Bryson DeChambeau tees off in about a half hour. He's at 700. Max Homa is out there. He's 600. Scotty Scheffler 600. He tees off later this afternoon. Cameron Young, Danny Willett, Cameron Davis. Those are guys right there in the top 10. And once again, Tiger Woods, it's double check him. He birdied number 3, so he is even par. Very good right now through 3 holes in his second round. Hey, do you have the logo that you sent us about, not the Delphonic logo of Bulky Masterclass at the Masters, although that one's pretty good too.
Yeah.
But Hamby, if you have the logo or if you need a break to get it, you just let me know.
I need a break from this talk, but what do we got?
You're scarred.
Oh, I'm so upset.
I like what Hamby brought this up, though. He's like, what is the Masters logo as iconic as it gets in sports for an event?
The Olympics?
Oh, somebody didn't bring up the Olympics in that conversation, Hamby. What else did they bring up?
It was just the Masters and the Rose Bowl logo.
Yeah, Rose Bowl was an interesting one to me. Like, that doesn't resonate. But I guess, yes, the Olympic. Maybe they called it an annual event in this conversation.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I mean, does Tiger and Rory, do they have Masters tattoos when they compete in it?
Yeah, I mean, the Olympics is a very good one. And by the way, there can be more than one answer here. Obviously, there can't be when it comes to Ken Griffey Jr. and John Smoltz, and obviously it can't be when it comes to Olympics.
But Brent, I think, honestly, I mean, you think there's a more iconic logo than the Olympics?
No, I think you're right. I think that's a good one. That's a very good one.
Thank you.
Anything else? I don't think, the Rose Bowl didn't sit with me. Now, maybe college football fans, maybe Big Ten fans, the Rose Bowl didn't do anything for me when it got brought up. And to be honest with you, the Masters logo is iconic. I would say, yeah, it's a cool logo, but I didn't know if it would resonate toward other sports fans the way this tweet indicated.
Okay.
Does the Masters logo transcend sports, whether you like golf or not?
Here it
boom,
is.
you know what it is. Like the Rose Bowl, man.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Does the Rose Bowl, you're a Big Ten guy. Does the Rose Bowl do anything for you?
Yeah, I mean, it does something. It's definitely recognizable.
Does nothing for me.
Does nothing for you, huh? I like it.
Listen, that's not a like thing.
Okay, I think
I'm not saying hey, do you look at that thing, Rose Bowl?
Well, I mean,
no.
It helps when it says Masters right on it, though. Huh?
I think edible arrangement.
I mean, if you take the Masters off that, are people going to identify? Okay, it's the United States of America with a pin in it?
Yeah.
And it's yellow?
Well, what they're saying is people will identify if you take the Masters off.
Okay.
I think a lot more people are with the Rose Bowl than you'd think.
Are they really? Well, listen, you got to remember, I grew up in New England, man. College football didn't matter like it matters down here. So, it's not like I was ingrained. I watched it. I mean, I love bowl games. It's not that I didn't, but I didn't. Maybe it just didn't resonate that way with me seeing that logo. I think
There's so
it's
much
pretty.
aura
I think
just
it's a
about the
good
game
topic.
in Pasadena, though.
Yeah, like I've never gave a damn about the Rose Bowl parade, though. Like, I really don't care.
That's cool.
Parade is one thing,
man. You
but
start your New Year's off, Brent. A little hungover. Turn on the Rose Bowl parade. Fight through it. No? Okay.
I really don't care about the Macy's Day Parade or any other parade either, but I really don't care about the Rose Bowl
kids,
parade.
Man, come on. The kids weren't into that? All right.
I guess it's pretty hard, though, if you think about it. It's pretty hard to have an event that has an iconic logo. There's not many of them. You said the Olympics is the great one. Like that's a perfect one worldwide, too.
I've seen the Boston Marathon one. It's a unicorn, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You know, what's interesting, I was thinking like Final Four and stuff like that. They change it every year.
Yeah, they update it.
Because of where it is. And what it got me thinking was like, was that wrong? In hindsight, do they wish that they had done something more like this, which could be more iconic, that you have like a Final Four logo that stands the test of time?
But no, because I think they always cater to what city it's going to be in. You know, like the Super Bowl does this.
Yep.
WWE, like WrestleMania does this. I kind of like when it's more customizable because then for collectors and stuff, you know, it makes it more unique.
Okay. You know, I will say this about the Super Bowl. We identify Roman numerals with it.
Yeah, we do.
Right?
Yes.
Which is also kind of odd because we don't.
But, you know what? But I have it no other way now.
Like, our education in Roman numerals is because of the Super Bowl. Like, we know what some of the Roman numerals are more because of the Super Bowl than we do because of schooling.
This is very true. Yes, no, you're not wrong there. Absolutely correct. Yep. Especially the United States. Like, maybe other countries. We're not touching those.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. We're live at BestBet St. Augustine. They got a big weekend ahead. We do too, and we'll keep you updated on the Masters. We go back some football conversation. Mel Kiper had some interesting thoughts on wide receiver and cornerback I want to get to, and there's Calvin Ridley, speaking of wide receiver, that people are talking about a little bit today. So that is still on the horizon here on a Friday at BestBet St. Augustine. We take you until 1 o'clock on the Brent and Austen Show. You can check it out on the Action Sports Jacks Network, 24/7 network on ActionNewsJacks.com and the Action News Jacks app. In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Navigating to that perfect car can be a daunting task. Trust me, I understand, but if you want to find the perfect blend of sales and service for your automotive needs, look no further than the Tom Bush family of dealerships.
Here at Tom Bush, they do things right. Dating back to 1970, they've been a staple in the community, giving back and keeping everything local. With 4 different brands to choose from, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, and many, there's a car for every member of the family, and the customer service is second to none. Looking to add an electric vehicle to your fleet? Tom Bush remains at the forefront of new technology with plenty of staff on hand to walk you through the future of driving and help eligible customers file for that EV tax credit.
Whether you're looking for your future driver's first car or you want to step up to luxury and arrive in style, the Tom Bush family of dealership is the only stop that you need to make.
Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory at tombush.com.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
It might look quiet, but that's just a chance to admire the facilities on the campus of the University of North Florida Ospreys. The stretch run has arrived in college sports, and for the Ospreys, that means the end of the beach volleyball season coming soon. And critical series for UNF softball and on the baseball diamond for the Ospreys team. Tennis is trying to peak in time for April's ASUN tourney as well. The postseason in golf is on the horizon, and track and field has its busiest stretch of the season. For news, schedules, and results, just go to unfospreys.com.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part, they did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Oh, inside that Jags facility, they just locked up Josh Allen for a 5-year extension, spent a lot of money. And what's the next move? I got to believe there's another move coming for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the topic right now is a move they did not make. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby, Brent and Austin Show. We're live from BestBet St. Augustine. Got here early this morning before the doors even open. And we've got some action over there on the table games and in the poker room. And we've got a busy weekend here at BestBet St. Augustine. Good to have some folks hanging out right behind us. I wonder what they're meeting about.
Should we ask him? Should we interview him, Brent?
I probably don't want to share.
Brent and Austin exclusive? What people behind us?
I tell you what, I think they got wings.
Smelling the wings, but also, it's definitely the wings.
It's definitely the wings.
Yeah.
Those wings smell good.
Yeah, I have some wings right now in my nostrils, just asking to be eaten. And unfortunately, I have sparring coming up, so I got to be careful.
Yeah, you're well disciplined, better than me. I've got to get going here. I've got to start being more disciplined. Yeah. The willpower is evaporated for me.
Speaking of discipline and eating and everything, where are my pimento cheese sandwiches? Forgot them. Awesome.
Didn't even grab one.
Had so much time during the rain delay. Can you get me a sandwich?
No.
All right.
I did not think that would be good for your diet a couple weeks away from a fight.
You'd be surprised on the weekends what I do, but okay.
Speaking of, I do want to get your thoughts on UFC 300 this weekend, but how's the preps going for your fight 2 weeks from tomorrow in Las Vegas?
Prep's going fantastic, man. Body feels great, which is the most important thing. So, yeah, everything is on schedule. Getting ready to taper.
Taper? Oh, tapering's always the best
Taper's
time.
Fun. Yeah.
That's right. That's usually the best time.
Yep.
Hey, do you believe this comment or not? And it's going to be about Calvin Ridley. It's from the Colin Cowherd show, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And here it is from the Colin Cowherd show as they discuss the deal that went down with Calvin Ridley in Tennessee. And listen to the part about the Jags and the money.
Someone in that building told me that Will Levis carries himself with a certain swag of a marquee franchise quarterback. Then they go out and get Calvin Ridley. Now, there's a little quick side story here of how that happened. Jacksonville thought they were getting him back. New England thought Jacksonville was getting him back. We know he wanted to stay in the South. At the final hour, Tennessee comes in after missing out on a couple guys the day before, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They weren't able to acquire them. They pivot. They go to the wide receiver, Calvin Ridley, and he's still thinking Jags, who offered, by the way, dollar for dollar, exactly what the Titans offered. Rand Carthon, the GM of the Titans, gets on a FaceTime with Calvin Ridley, and he says, we're both from Florida. You're going to love the way we treat you inside this building. Halfway through the conversation, Ridley says, no more. I'm in. That's the difference maker, and I think Brian Callahan benefits in a big way.
Well, maybe Tennessee benefits in a big way. You would think so, and Will Levis, that's what they're hoping on as well. I mean, the bottom line here for me is, did the Jags go dollar for dollar and lose out?
Yeah.
On Calvin Ridley?
Mm-hmm.
No way in hell.
Really?
No way.
Now, Calvin Ridley commented on that video.
Yeah, of course he did.
Okay.
No way.
Okay. No way. Gotcha.
By the way,
not only talk about it then.
Not only no way, but let's just say I hope not. We all thought that was a crazy amount of money. That was a crazy deal.
Sure.
Like
absolutely.
Too much of a deal.
Yeah.
I hope the Jags didn't go there.
Mm-hmm. So,
what do you think?
I initially thought there's no way as well, because everyone in the comments was saying how Calvin Ridley even said that Tennessee offered him more money. And then I went back to watch that press conference because I was curious, and that's not what he said. Calvin Ridley said that Tennessee offered me a lot of money.
Yeah.
Didn't say it was more money. So then I'm like, sometimes sources can be wrong. Maybe it came from the Titans building, but then Calvin Ridley commented on it. And you said this before about Calvin Ridley, Brent. You know him a lot better than I do, but you said that he's a man that essentially speaks the truth, right? Like he doesn't sugarcoat things.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes if there's a false narrative, he'll be the first one to say, well, you guys aren't GMs. You guys don't know what you're talking about. Well, he liked the video, number one. And number two, he put exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
Yeah.
Which kind of like, take that for how you want it, cryptic a little bit. But the way I see it is like, oh, they said something.
Yeah.
Now, I think if it was false, if it was a rumor, if it was misconstrued, I felt like Calvin Ridley would be the first one to come out and say, you guys are wrong. You guys are full of whatever. He didn't say that.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt Calvin Ridley, by the way, to have the dollar figures out there and say the Jags want them and Titans have them, all that. I think what he was commenting, and again, this is just interpretation. I think what Calvin was commenting on was the actual tweet that read this: Calvin Ridley's a bona fide difference maker for Will Levis, Brian Callahan, and the new look Titans. That's what the tweet said.
Okay.
And I think that's more than, there were a lot of
different... You watch the video?
No, there were a lot of different nuggets in that video. Like, do we believe that the Patriots knew that Jacksonville was a favorite, that he wanted to stay in the South? Absolutely. Do I believe even that they had that conversation and he's like, hey, we'll make you feel comfortable? Yeah, probably. Like, I could see that. This guy said somebody in the building told him that. But I think that same somebody in the building probably told him that they offered the same amount of money in Jacksonville. And I'm just not buying it. Like, maybe, listen, we'll never know. I doubt we'll know.
We can ask.
No, we can ask. But I don't think so. Like, I don't think they were offering him $50 million guaranteed. I don't think they were offering him 4 years, 92. And honestly, and I like Calvin again, so this is going to sound like this isn't, hey, Calvin's going great, so like we're really hoping he was gone. No, I'll reset this from my vantage point. I said I would have probably signed him even before the franchise tag stuff and tried to do a 2-year deal worth XXX, whatever. But I also understand through that process that the representation for Calvin Ridley was smart to wait to see how everything transpired, and it worked out in his favor in the 11th hour to get what I think is more money than he would have got from the Patriots, would have got from Jacksonville. So, but at the same time, I'll sit here and say, as much as I wouldn't have minded to see him back at all, I think he's a really good player, and I think year 2 in Jacksonville could have gone really well. I don't think he was worth that contract for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, maybe he's worth that contract for the Titans.
Sure.
I just don't think where the Jags are, he's worth that contract in a 4-year, $50 million guaranteed deal at 23 per. I would take, if you said you want that or go get a younger receiver in the draft, I would take younger receiver in the draft.
No, I agree with you. I probably wouldn't have paid Calvin Ridley that much money either. So I'm with you on that. To me, it's either two stories here. The story is that it's a false rumor. Ridley didn't comment on it, which, okay, that's fine. And whatever, he got a lot more money in Tennessee. Or he got offered the same amount of money from Jacksonville. He commented on, hey, maybe this guy's onto something on Twitter. And he chose the Tennessee Titans and Will Levis over a thing that he already had here in Jacksonville. And if that's the thing, then it's like, well, why the hell would you take the same amount of money, go to a new spot, go to Nashville, go play for the Titans over the Jaguars?
Yeah. Just because the guy said you're going to feel comfortable in the building?
But and here's what I'm trying to get at. Is there something like, what, did he not get along with Trevor Lawrence? Was he not a fan of Doug Peterson? Like, I mean, I think if that's the narrative, then those questions can be asked.
Well, and here's the go. If you want, I'll jump on this conversation with you again. I don't believe the money was the same. Okay. I really don't. And honestly, I don't know. Now, listen, you can talk. If Team A is on this side of the table and Team B is on this side of the table, and I'm doing an interview right now with somebody, and they want to tell me $50 million guaranteed, 4 years, $92 million, and I'm like, I'm in. And if you happen to be Tennessee first before the Jags call or whatever, and they were both equal, I'd be like, I'm in. I probably wouldn't expect it to get this deal over here. But let me come along with this conversation. If the money was the same and the Jags lost out, I just don't believe fully that Calvin wanted to go anywhere outside of Florida. I think Southeast. I think Nashville's even different than playing in Jacksonville, honestly, for Calvin Ridley. Mm-hmm. So I don't buy it. Now they have no state income tax in Tennessee as well, so you can play that same game there. But if we're saying that it was the same and they lost out, I would say the Carthon part of this versus the bulky part of this would probably be the difference. You know, that relationship, the warm and fuzzy. Would Balky say that in a meeting of a contract negotiation? Wait, we're going to take care of you even more. Did Carthon win as a salesman in that situation? Maybe. Like, he probably would win over Balky, and maybe that's the case on a lot of different deals. Like, I could see a lot of different GMs more than Balky as a better salesman or a better pitch man to say, hey, we're going to make this the greatest 4 years of your life, type of thing.
Okay.
And is there something that would try? Like, I don't buy any of that stuff. Like, I think it could have been just in the moment. If it was, again, if we're going to assume that all the dollars were equal, why would he go to Tennessee? I would say maybe it was a good sales job by Carthon, but also it was more in the moment type thing. I just don't believe it, man.
Okay, but then in the moment thing, like, if you get offered this amount of money by Tennessee, aren't you going to be at least like, hey, anybody else want to get on this before I sign? Like, that's good business.
Well, that's what his agent probably did.
Yeah. So then if that's the case, and once again, I don't know what happened. I just find it peculiar hearing what I've heard about Calvin Ridley sharing on this video, and he doesn't address the biggest part of the video. Like, he doesn't say, no, that's not what happened at all.
Yeah.
He seems to just be, oh, yeah.
Yeah, but listen, here's the deal, man.
Okay.
If you told me if somebody wants to tweet out our show today, and say, hey, Brent Austen show this week did 1 million views on Tuesday, and it was dead ass wrong.
Sure.
I'm sure it ain't coming up and stopping it.
Yeah,
it's not my job to put the end of the rumor.
No, you know what I mean? No, for sure. But
what's the difference here?
That's such a big difference. It'd be like us saying, hey, Casey was on our show and Casey brought us 2 million views.
Yeah.
Casey would probably be like, well, that didn't happen. Like, that's not, like, because we're calling somebody out. Like, we're calling somebody out in a situation. Right? It's not just a collective thing with our show. It's one player who usually, it seems like, likes to write the narrative in his favor, likes to write the narrative and correct people when they're wrong. I mean, we saw this with everyone thinks they're a GM. They're not. Like, Calvin Ridley has made it a habit of, correcting people that he thinks are false or don't know what's going on. This guy to come out and say, hey, the Jaguars paid the same amount of money as a Tennessee Titans, from Calvin Ridley's perspective, coming from a place that, took you in, and now you're going to a new spot, I felt like if it was false, he'd be the first one to correct it.
Yeah, I think I'm disagreeing with you here based off just because it's the dollar report. The dollar report doesn't help the agent, doesn't help other receivers, doesn't help him correct it. I think business... I just don't think you're going to go answer every bell on that. I don't have a good example of it happening or not happening in the past, but I don't think he cares about the organization here in Jacksonville enough to be like, oh, no, that wasn't the right. That's not. He's not going to take this 40-second video and sit there and dissect, well, this was right, this was wrong, this was right, this was wrong. Because, again, there were multiple things said in that report. It wasn't just the money. The thing that got our attention was obviously the dollars part. So, I mean, you might be right, I might be wrong. I don't feel like in this instance he was going to set the record straight. Now, what is interesting is he might get asked on the heels of this report, like next week if he talks, and because of off-season conditioning, be interesting to see if he says anything.
Yeah.
But you're right, too, just to go back to the beginning, when he did have his news conference, people interpreted like, hey, they showed me the money. But you went back and looked at it and said, well, he didn't necessarily say that they gave me more money.
The narrative was that Tennessee gave him more money is what he said. That's not what he said.
Yeah. So, that's worth clarifying.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at it, which Austin did, I did not, but he didn't necessarily say,
oh, yeah, Tennessee got the most money, so I'm here. Wasn't.
Hey, let's stay on receiver for a moment. And, Hamby, if we could, let's bring up Mel Kiper, because Mel Kiper met with the media. He does like a conference call like once a month, or this might be the only one, or the last one before the draft. And I was listening to some of it, caught some of it, and obviously receiver is a very important position here in Jacksonville, we think. Not specific to the three guys, but interesting to hear what Mel said about really the first two rounds when it comes to receiver. Keep in mind the number of receivers that he mentioned, that he talks about, that could be either game changers or worthy of the first couple of rounds of a selection. Remember, the Jags have the 17th overall pick, and in round number 2, they have the 48th overall pick. Here's Mel Kiper on receivers.
Like options for teams, I guess, how do you view this class overall?
Well, it's 15 in the first two rounds, and I don't do the numbers. When I'm doing the mock, I'm not trying to put wide receivers. I just go by the ratings and the needs and what I'm hearing, and it became a lot of wide receivers, and they're all good. There's some underrated guys that if you want to wait till the second and say, okay, I can move up in the second and get a Jalen McMillan from Washington. I can move up in the second and get a Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky, or move up in the second round and get a guy like Jalen Pope from Washington, okay? I think that you could think – it just depends on how they grade these kids and who they like and who they don't like. That's all. But the opportunity is there. There's plenty of opportunities for the Bills to get, say, multiple wide receivers within the first 5 rounds of this draft.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Brandon will now go to Dave in Philly, followed by Rob in Iowa.
Hey, Hamby, get us back.
Hey, Mel, it
Get back
seems
to
like
us if you can, Hamby.
You're good.
Are we back live, Hamby? Because we're still hearing Mel and the conversation. So just to let you know,
some guy from Iowa is talking right now.
Yes.
Which NFL? Well, who's from Iowa? Get out of there, man. Well, the Hawkeyes.
Actually, the Iowa thing is interesting to hear from in just a couple of minutes, but because it has to do with the cornerback position. Instead. But back to the 15 first and second round receivers, according to Mel Kiper. That's a lot. Like, we know receivers are plentiful. Are we overemphasizing potentially going to get one of the top guys when you could get another playmaker in the second round? Jags would be sitting back at 48, so you could have like 10 of those guys go off the board before you get to number 48. What would be interesting is if they don't get one in the first round, if that scenario presents itself, would they be aggressive in day 2 to go overnight and trade up to one of the 34th spot, 35th spot, and get him there?
Listen, I mean, I know every position's different, but we hear this story all the time. Oh, it's a really deep draft class in terms of edge rusher. It's a really deep draft class in terms of corner. It's a really deep draft class in terms of wide receiver. So you think, okay, well, if it's really deep, there's good value here. Maybe we'll wait till the second, maybe the third round to get our guy. And sometimes those guys don't work out. So, yeah, I get it. You can maybe get a quality player in the second round, and you know what? He might turn out to be the next, who knows, DK Metcalf. He might turn out to be the next Devontae Adams, whatever the case may be. He might be the real deal. Or he might fall off, and you may never hear from him again. So I get what that narrative says. But to me, if I'm looking for a wide receiver, I see 3 guys that are clear ahead of everybody else. I say 3 guys that have a very safe floor that could be potential all-pros. So I'm more focused on those 3 guys. And if I can't get those 3 guys, well then, yeah, I'm going to have to risk it. I'm going to have to take a chance and hope that it works out.
By the way, Cooper DeJean from Iowa, the cornerback, is who he had going at number 17 to the Jacksonville Jaguars in his latest mock draft, which came out Wednesday. This was for Mel Kiper. I find it interesting because, like, you got a Byron Murphy that sits back there, goes to the Bengals after this, according to Mel. Latu, the pass rusher out of UCLA, to the Rams. I would be more interested in him than I think I would DeJean at 17. Jared Verse at 21. Are they going to let Jared Verse go by and they're going to pay Cooper DeJean? Again, this is Mel's idea of a draft.
It's hard to fathom.
But I'm like, are you serious? Is that what they're going to do here? And then receivers after, you got Xavier Worthy. Well, let's keep going here. Brian Thomas Jr. goes all the way down to 28 in this instance.
Yeah.
Adonai Mitchell, is that how we say it? Did I do that better? Leggett at 32 for Kansas. Kansas City, that is. And then let's go to the second round real quick and find out who the Jags take at 48. Chris Jenkins from Michigan, defensive tackle.
Yeah.
So in Mel's mock, no receiver in the top 2 rounds. This place might riot.
Yeah, no receiver, no edge.
Yeah.
You know, and Mel Kiper's, I think if I read that, I can't remember, I just read a couple days ago. Basically, he was saying how they got Eric Armstead, but they still need depth. Was that the...
Yeah, it's basically what he's saying. But he's likely to play most of his snaps on the edge.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know about most of his snaps.
Yeah.
Jenkins has a versatility to play end or tackle, like his ability to penetrate from the interior, strong and stout against the run, too. So that was the book on Chris Jenkins out of Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, I get if you put him on the edge, I guess. But once again, I feel like, Jared Verse sticks out to me. If he drops to you, you're just going to let him go.
Yeah, that would be stunning. And not only that, like in Mel's mock, this is where again, I'm okay with these guys mocking whatever. I'm not saying cornerback you can't make the case for it. I think you can actually make the case for defensive tackle as well as a young guy. But if you do both of those things and you pass over wide receiver and pass rusher, especially the ones that are available in Mel's, like that's going to come with a lot of criticism. Right or wrong, they'll be proven. But it's going to come with a lot of criticism if you don't do that, and would from us.
Yeah, absolutely.
If this is the way it would shake out. Mel has some interesting thoughts on cornerback as well, and this is why I'm not going to get to it right here, Hamby. Let's take a break, and when we come back from BestBet St. Augustine, we'll hear from Mel Kiper on cornerback, and I think he actually, in his comments, tells me why the Jags shouldn't pick cornerback at number 17 if you're still in that camp. But you can agree or disagree when we come back. We're live BestBet St. Augustine. The Brent Austen Show, noon hour, kicks off. When we come back, we'll give you a Masters update as well. I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains, and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. from residential to commercial uses. Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
Get outside.
Yeah.
Make friends.
Yes.
Learn life lessons with the First Tee.
Golf is kind of like life in a way.
You can take some stuff you learn on the course and take that and use it in every single day life.
Donate to First Tee's Play Day campaign and everybody wins.
For every $10 you've donated, you're entered to win a free round with a buddy at the stadium course, home of the players, with this guy, Len Matisse. Scan the code on your screen or visit actionnewsjacks.com to learn more.
It's the fishing tournament everyone wants to get in, and it's time for you to register. More than 650 boats entered last summer in the Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin. Mark the calendar now, June 8th. This is fun for the entire family, and everyone has a chance to win big. Limited boundaries, no bait buying, no checkout. Cash prizes for the top 25 places, cash prizes for the top 10 lady anglers, and prizes for the top 15 junior anglers. The grand prize, this Yellowfin Bay boat with a 200 horsepower Yamaha and a Ameritrail trailer. The value, over $100,000. It's the Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout. Early entry until the end of May is open and $250. If you don't catch the big one, don't worry. Just catch any size kingfish and have a chance to win $10,000 with the Nimnik Lucky Ticket. OldSchoolKingfish.com. Register early until May 31st at OldSchoolKingfish.com.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
We're hanging out at BestBet St. Augustine. There you see $1,500 high hands next weekend. We'll be here Friday again and help kick that off, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Friday and Saturday next week right here at BestBet St. Augustine is where we'll be, but also BestBet Jackson, Orange Park as well. And this weekend, it's a $100,000 guaranteed prize pool, $200 to get in the St. Augustine Championship. Now, it started yesterday, and it goes until Sunday. And you still have 4 flights to get in. Today at noon, well, that's like now, and 6 p.m. Tomorrow at noon and 6 p.m. Every flight, by the way, plays down to 10% of the field. So once 10% of the field is left, you put your chips in a bag, and they're waiting for you at noon on Sunday for the final day. All final day players are in the money. And if you bag more than one flight and take your biggest bag forward, $500 for every other bag. So that's how it goes. For you poker players, you know how it works. Next Friday, April 19th, is National Poker Day. So we will be here on that Friday here with our show, Brent Martineau Show, BestBet St. Augustine. And 12 o'clock to 12 a.m., $1,500 every 30 minutes on Friday and Saturday as those high hands are going to be played. So a lot of action here at BestBet St. Augustine. And in the next few days, we're going to finalize what we're doing around the Kentucky Derby. We'll be back out here on May 3rd with the show, have a live studio audience, essentially, here at BestBet St. Augustine. Win prizes. There'll be giveaways, a lot of fun stuff on the eve of the Kentucky Derby. I'm thinking that I will even purchase everyone a Superfecta ticket.
Oh, that's nice of you.
All right.
Okay.
And so here's how Superfecta works. It's like you can do like $1 Superfecta or a $2 Superfecta, but I will always buy we would do like the kids' birthdays. Like you got to get the 4 horses in a row to finish.
Yes.
But the Derby's the best time to do it because there's a 20-horse field usually. And so the dollars I get to get to, like we do 2, 4, 1, 5. I did twins, and then the kids were born April 15th. Actually, their birthday's coming up Monday.
Gotcha.
So 2, 4, 1, 5. And so we always bet 2, 4, 1, 5 at the track up in Saratoga.
Yeah.
Or for the Derby. But, I mean, sometimes, like the Superfecta hits, and it's like $80,000 or something. So one of these days it's going to hit. It probably has already hit, and I missed it.
I was going to say, like, how many times have you done it? What are the odds now? But, man, if you missed it, you hate to see that, Brent.
But, hey, we're having shirts made up with our Action Sports Shacks logo, so we're going to give those away. We've got some Best Bet hats and shirts. Not one thing at a time.
Derby
here.
hat? Okay.
No, Derby hat. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Well,
come with me now.
The Derby Day is also a huge day. I was going to do Derby Day kind of contest thing, but if you're going to get ready for the Derby on Saturday, which is where they really have Derby parties, I was like, well, people are going to really want to do it again on Friday. Okay. So I stayed away from that part of it. Okay. But, I mean, we want a studio audience down here. We're probably talking like this 25 folks. We don't need a million people down here. Well, a million people can come down here. But for this area alone, we got to keep our spacing a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we go 50 people. I mean, I don't know what the right amount of people is.
Yeah.
But come on down, join us. It's going to be the case. It's going to be on May 3rd, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. But you can also come join us right now for lunch. You can come join us next Friday as well. So we've got some big moments coming up here at BestBet St. Augustine.
Probably don't want to bring the babies or the kids, though, right? You got to be 18 to be in here, I think. That's how they sign out front. Just putting that out there.
That's a good point.
I got you, Brent.
You can bring the family, but it's got to be 18 and older.
Have the babies in the parking lot. We'll come talk to them after.
Please don't do that.
So baby's parking lot?
Please don't.
Baby's in the parking lot.
That's fine if they have a babysitter.
Well, yeah, I'm not just saying. Not going to put the baby in the car. Brent, come on. I mean, give me a little more credit than that.
I was going to say, because if you wanted to have us come visit them later, it would be with Action Jack.
Yeah, man. Just leave the keys in the car, put that AC on, and put the baby out there for a couple. He'll be fine.
You'd be surprised.
Man?
You'd be surprised.
Oh, man.
Brent Martineau Austen Lane, you got a big fight coming up in a couple of weeks. And before we get into a little bit more of cornerback in this year's draft, UFC 300 is tomorrow night, so a big one. They've been prepping for this one. They say it's like the best one ever.
That's what they're saying.
Is that hyperbole? Is that promotion?
So some people are saying that 299 was actually top to bottom the better card. I mean, this is definitely like, listen, you don't call it UFC 300 and put on just a local bar show. You know, this is definitely has a lot of big name fighters on it. A few names that stand out: Alex Pierre, Jamal Hill is going to be the main event. Alex Pierre is one of the biggest things in MMA right now. People sleep and forget about Jamal Hill because he had an Achilles injury that he actually hurt in a charity basketball tournament.
Oh, wow.
So he went to Aaron Rodgers' doctor, fun fact, got that all fixed, came back a little earlier than expected, and he had the belt. And he had to forfeit that belt because of that Achilles injury. So that's going to be the main event at the light heavyweight, 205. Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway is going to be for the BMF belt. Brent, I can't pronounce what BMF means because, well, we're not quite sure if we can swear or not on it.
Bad. Yeah.
You use your imaginations, right? That's going to be a barn burner. Max Holloway is going to come up in a weight class to take on Justin Gaethje. The first time Max Holloway did that against Dustin Poirier didn't go so well, but I think Max Holloway is going to be more than ready this time to take on Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje, obviously a fan favorite, only knows one way of fighting. That's coming forward, taking all the punishment possible, and giving out punishment as well. Charles Oliveira is back on the card, a fan favorite himself, and then I would say probably the most controversial fight that some people want to feel a certain type of way is. I mean, you have guys like Yuri Prochova and Alexander Rakic. Yuri Prochova has been a champion before. You know, you have Holly Holm, Kayla Harrison. Holly Holm has been a champion before. But on the main card, you have a guy by the name of Bo Nickel, who's kind of fresh to the MMA scene. He's 5-0 right now, taking on Cody Brunridge, who's he's kind of just a who's who of fighting. But Bo Nickel is the ultimate hype train right now. Dana loves him. Former collegiate wrestler from Penn State, national championship time and time again, has a clean record right now, and obviously is trying to be the next big thing in mixed martial arts. So they actually put him on the main card, much to the chagrin of maybe some of the other fighters on this card as well.
Holly Holm is a name obviously people know, I think, from upsetting Rousey years ago. I don't feel like mainstream-wise her name has taken off to where I thought it could. Where is she in the UFC world?
So she's kind of on the outer edge of fighting for a title again. She's had a couple opportunities, but there's been some. Amanda Nunes has been dominant. Valentina Shevchenko has been dominant before she lost it. She's actually fighting an interesting girl in Kayla Harrison, who is 16-1 right now, was the toast of the PFL for a long time, and finally experienced her first loss via decision. But Kayla Harrison is a grappling specialist, kind of like Ronda Rousey was. Think of a more evolved Ronda Rousey, and that's what you're getting with Kayla Harrison. Striking leaves a little left to be desired, and Holly Holm, well, she's a striker, but how she can be on the ground, she does train with great partners, does have a suitable ground game, but it's going to remain to be seen if Kayla Harrison can get her down and what's going to happen from there. So that's actually a really interesting fight. That's going to happen early in the prelim. So
the other big story coming out of UFC 300 down in Miami, they went from $50,000 guaranteed bonus to $300,000. Like you said, it's happened before, but I think I don't know, it feels like there's significance when they do it, because I think one of the claims in the UFC is that they're not getting enough money floating the fighters' way. So this is a big opportunity. And Conor McGregor, I saw him tweet about it, says life-changing money for these kind of guys if they're able to get it. So kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it adds more incentive to go out there and look for that exciting knockout, look for that exciting finish. So, that could kind of sweeten the deal a little bit. And obviously fight of the night, too. You get $300,000. So you don't want to see people just kind of on their back feet their whole time, just trying to run away. But yeah, this is Dana. Dana knows the game. It's UFC 300. It's a big event. This is another storyline behind it now, more talking points and everything. And obviously, it's helping out the fighters as well, and that's the most important part. So, I mean, honestly, we'll see how this whole card shakes down. If this is going to be a banger card, and if you have fight of the night after fight of the night, I won't be surprised if every single winner gets some kind of bonus, just because it's that big of a card.
All right, 2 weeks away from this fight, the most important one.
There we go.
Coming up in Vegas. I think that's at the Apex, right? In Vegas, which means it won't be crazy from a fan standpoint, and very limited in terms of how many people are in there.
Maybe Mark Zuckerberg might be there again, but very limited who can be in there. Yeah.
What is that? Does that change the way you're energized? I mean, you're coming off a couple of fights where obviously you were in Jacksonville and then in Australia, in his homeland, where obviously the crowd and the energy and the emotion and everything was...
It was crazy.
It was big in your fight, specifically in those two destinations. This will feel... Does it feel different?
It definitely feels different. I'm thankful I fought in here before to get my UFC contract, so I'm used to it a little bit. If anything... I mean, there's pros and cons to this, because I feel like when you fight in the Apex and you can't really hear the crowd, you can hear your coaches the entire time. You can hear the commentators, which is kind of awkward. The commentators talking about you fighting when you're fighting is always kind of weird. But it's almost like a glorified sparring session then, right? So it's almost more of it relates back to what you know, because it's essentially you're sparring, but now obviously with smaller gloves on a bigger stage. So that's what it feels like to me. I think people that can self-motivate themselves, that can have a good headspace, benefit here more, as opposed to someone who maybe needs that extra kind of push, that extra, what would you call it? Just ambiance to get you up for a fight. I never need that. I'm more of a self-motivated person. So I'm excited for the atmosphere. I understand I'm not going to have people booing me or cheering me on, and that's okay. But if anything, I think it just kind of locks in your focus now, because now your energy is not so geared towards the emotion of everything.
That's interesting you said it that way, because I kind of would have pegged you to be that way too. I think it's almost an advantage for you. You kind of get in your own little world, I think, when you fight. And not to say you can't feed off the energy of a crowd. I think everybody could do that. But I also think it could have a downside. I mean, you can get too hyped up too early. You can get too much going out. I mean, you just don't stay in your own game plan, right? So, I mean, there's positives and negatives. I mean, that's one of the big things in any big game is, can you handle your emotions, the adrenaline, the everything else, and have enough gas left in the tank by the time that thing drains down, at kickoff or something. So I was thinking the same way. I feel like this could be almost in a way a benefit to you. Not that the other side's a detraction, but
no, I mean the other side's fun as well. You know? I mean, I think like especially when you win, it's fun to have all those people cheering for you. It's kind of awkward when you win in there.
That is true. It's like, all right, next play.
Well, we'll see you. Thanks everybody for coming out.
I can see that. I mean, again, that part of it has got to be awkward because like you're putting so much into it, and then all of a sudden it's like just like a little house party.
Yeah, when I got my contract, and I won, I got the knockout. It was like, cool. All right. We'll see you.
That is pretty wild. How's how you feeling? I mean, 2 weeks. You've done this enough now.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you normally feel 2 weeks before an event?
No, I mean, so honestly, I have changed some things. Listen, anytime you come out for a loss, you can't do the same things over, right? You have to look inside yourself and see, okay, what do I need to improve on? How can I get better? And you spoke on this before a little bit. I think it's a great point. I think sometimes, regardless of the sport, as a professional athlete, we lie to ourselves and say, that wasn't my fault, right? Like maybe I was a little injured, maybe I wasn't myself, things like that. And you can use all those excuses. Like every fighter is going to be a little banged up going into the cage. Right? You're never going to have a clean training camp. And no excuses. I made a mistake in my last one. I've corrected that mistake. We've worked on some things now, and I'm excited to showcase those things. So, as far as the matchup's concerned, obviously this guy is a knockout artist. He's a kickboxer, but he hasn't been in a lot of MMA fights. And I think where I have the advantage here is I'm a fighter. I can go take this fight to a couple places if I want to take this fight to a couple places. So that's what we've been focusing on now. Is I'm not fighting a kickbox. I mean, I'm not going to kickbox this guy. I'm going to fight this guy. And that's been the main focus right now of this fight camp.
All right, 2 weeks away, getting ready for it. Austin will be with us all next week, by the way, before he heads to Vegas. Then he'll join us in Vegas throughout the week, too.
Maybe some behind-the-scenes stuff. Maybe thank you guys. I think I'll probably be weighing in on Friday, so maybe a little behind-the-scenes of the weigh-in and stuff.
Awesome. Whatever you can work out without getting distracted.
If Dana's going to allow that, it's the real thing.
That's that part of it. And also,
you know how Dana operates with the media sometimes.
Most importantly, we're back. We need a W. And whatever helps you get locked in. That's we're up for that. We can handle some of the draft coverage. We will, by the way, have Shock Your Mock not on Fridays, but we will have it all next week again, Monday through Thursday. So that will be our final qualification for the quarterfinals, which will take place the week of the 22nd. Quarterfinals, fan vote. Semifinals on Tuesday, fan vote, finals on Wednesday, and we'll announce a winner on Thursday. Maybe get automatic invite into our May 3rd.
I like that.
Live show here at BestBet St. Augustine.
Well, I'll tell you who's I going to invite the Shock Your Mock anytime soon is Mel Kiper with those draft picks coming in here with the corner and the defensive tackle.
Yeah, loving that.
I don't know, Mel. I don't know, man.
But speaking of corner, let's get back to that because Mel did. I thought this was interesting. You in the first round, we're sitting with all these corners like DeJean he had and Wiggins and what's it, Terrion Arnold from Alabama. Pick your favorite guy. And I think it varies, by the way, which also tells me there's not a dominant guy in the class.
There's not, but let me ask you this, Brent. I remember the whole Jeff Okudah year, right? Where he was kind of unequivocally the best cornerback, can't really miss. And I feel like, and I think I was kind of in the same realm, like he has a pretty safe floor. Now, he had some injuries and things like that, but comes from Ohio State. Goes to Detroit, has an injury, then goes to Atlanta, and I think he's on the Texans?
I think Texans side.
Okay. My point is he was taken very high, and one would say in Detroit didn't produce.
Not for a top 5 pick.
Not for a top 5 pick. And I hate using this narrative because I think there's talent everywhere, but are you more confident with an Alabama cornerback? For instance, I think in this mock draft, he had Kool-Aid going to Baltimore later on in the draft.
Yeah, he did.
Would you be more confident with a guy like from Alabama who, in terms of corners and sometimes wide receivers, they seem to be a pretty sure thing? Or would you want to go with this guy from Iowa?
Yeah, that's a good call. I think I would say Alabama corner. Yes, I think there's a subconscious to an Alabama player coming out that doesn't always make them a great player, by the way. Correct. I think there's had a lot of success, too, getting guys to the NFL. I think even more so at that position because Saban's a cornerback guy by trade. He's a secondary guy. Mm-hmm. And so the coaching up that you get, the readiness to be able to play at the next level. And usually the guy that they get at Alabama checks a lot of boxes when it comes from the physicality stuff, right?
Yes.
The measurable stuff that maybe the guy at Iowa doesn't. So I think there's certainly, whether that's stereotype, whether it's subconscious, whether it's just trend of what Alabama's been able to do. I don't know how you can't look at an Alabama player, and when you draft an Alabama player, feel better than if that guy came from, like, Iowa State.
No, without a doubt.
I mean, you just say, and again, that might be false.
Well,
and I think it's hard to do from a scouting standpoint.
The Jags have had a couple.
Yeah.
Ronnie Harrison, say which one about that. TJ Yeldon, say which one about that.
Yeah, and those guys are really interesting. You know why those guys are interesting? Because they came from Alabama, which seems like a buttoned-up thing.
Yeah.
And those guys were kind of, I don't know what's the best word to describe them, but at times a pain in the butt in the locker room.
Well, it didn't even, I think Saban said that Ronnie Harrison wasn't ready.
Yeah,
wasn't that kind of
early? That was the one he said, "Don't come out." Right?
Yeah,
he was critical
Ronnie
of that.
Harrison was kind of,
and that might have been why, the maturity part of it.
Sure.
But then Yeldon showed up in a bad way.
Yeah,
like I don't think it was necessarily their player production where they were drafted as much as maybe their attitude and how they fit in the locker room and everything else that rubbed people the wrong way. Now, were they great to begin with? No, but I think that highlights it more than for me. They did end up going to other teams and contributing.
Yeah,
Yeldon actually did have a pretty short stint after leaving the Jacksonville Jaguars, though. You listen to Mel Kiper talk about a specific corner, and he's talking about this guy going that's under the radar out of Iowa State, ironically. Not Iowa, but Iowa State. So it's not Cooper DeJean. Instead, it's TJ Tampa, a guy that I haven't seen his name thrown around a bunch, but Mel Kiper apparently loves him, and I'm wondering if it says something about the cornerback position in this draft.
Or just the fact that he's a super solid corner, or what do you think makes him underrated, and what is his value? Which you've touched on, but could you expand on a little bit more?
Sure. He's got the length I love, the length, the instinct. So, he runs 4.52, but he plays like he runs 4.42, and that's what you want. Yeah, you want that. If he'd run 4.45, it'd have been in the first round. We wouldn't even have the discussion about him being a second-round pick. So I think the fact that he ran 4.52, people look at him, he's naturally instinctive. You see the ball skills. He turns at the right moment. He's a former wide receiver in high school. He will tackle. He gets his hands on a lot of balls, which you love to see at the collegiate level. Iowa State players with Matt Campbell, you look at the track record, some of them have been very underrated. So like when you look at TJ Tampa, I haven't heard his name much at all. I might be out there on an island with him. We'll see where he goes. But I do think he deserves strong early second round consideration. Like I said, that's why I have him as underrated, because I don't hear his name ever talked about. If you guys correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody out there is talking up TJ Tampa a lot, let me know. I haven't heard it. I don't listen to everything, but I do think TJ Tampa, based on what I saw on tape, I don't care about how do you play, how do you perform, and there's nothing wrong with Terry and Arnold ran 4.5, 4.51. He's going to go 15. So again, for TJ Tampa, to me, the fact that he will tackle, the fact that he is a business-like player, they rave about his character at Iowa State, and the fact that he, like I say, he has that ability, that natural ability to break up passes, intercept passes, and create turnovers when the opportunity presents itself. Everything, he checked all the boxes for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Mel.
So that's Mel Kiper talking about TJ Tampa, and I thought that was interesting. That fascinated me, that conversation. He actually just answered what we were just talking about. Terry and Arnold might be throwing up the board a bit because he's an Alabama guy, runs the same as a guy like this, who's actually a middle second round or late second round projection by many. I think some even have him going worse than that. Mel Kiper seems to like him. Take that for what it's worth. Yeah. No doubt, by the way, a guy named TJ Tampa is from Tampa area in St. Petersburg, but a little bit more on him. He is 6'1", arm length 32 and 1/8, 189 pounds. So he's bigger than some of these other lighter corners that we've seen. Mm-hmm. Not the heaviest, but he's big. What I like about him, he's played 46 games in college.
Nice.
So he's got a ton of experience. Here's the NFL.com overview on a guy like this. Physical corner with long arms and above average ability to ruin catch. Tries when he's in the vicinity. Tampa has decent closing burst, but appears to lack true top-end speed. Sure. That might be a little bit... now, Mel said he instinctually plays faster than that. He can change up his press punch, does a nice job of staying connected to routes from trail techniques. However, he allows separation windows to open when playing from a back pedal in off-man coverage. Tampa can handle some man matchups, but his last-second pass breakups will turn into completions against pro receivers. His demeanor, instincts, and ball skills should make him a day 2 target, an eventual starter for a zone-heavy cover unit.
Sure.
So I'm not necessarily pegging this guy for Jacksonville, right? Because you'd seem to have to be more of a man player in this Ryan Nielsen scheme.
Yeah.
But what this shows to me is I think we're going to have a lot of varying opinion on this cornerback class. Mel has one here.
Okay.
And this is a class to me that screams out the best corner is going to be hidden in the second round somewhere.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I mean, that very well could be. Once again, I think with the cornerback position, a lot, it has to deal with the system that you're going to be in.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think Richard Sherman would be a classic example of that, where Richard Sherman, I think, was 5th round, if I'm not mistaken.
He was.
Big knock on him. Can't play man. No recovery. You know, decent, great size, but like just doesn't have the speed recovery to be a legit corner in the league. Pete Carroll goes, oh, cool. How are you in cover 2? How are you in cover 3? Pretty good? All right, we'll put you there. And Richard Sherman at one time was the best cornerback, arguably, in the NFL. So, yeah, I mean, if you put this guy in zone coverage and you put him in a spot to succeed, he could be the best. You know, to me, a lot of the times it's what the system that you find yourself in, but then sometimes it's just, hey, are you a dog? Are you great at one-on-one? And I think Sauce Gardner is a classic example of that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Sauce Gardner was highly touted coming out of college, and he's done everything impossible to live up to that moniker so far, because in terms of manning a wide receiver up man-to-man, I think there's nobody better right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, he seems like can't miss like Jalen was.
Yeah.
Kind of can't miss in that respect. You knew he was going to be a good player. The floor was really good. And then you have the Akutas of the world that haven't really lived up to it.
Who kind of had that hype, though? Like,
kind of had a lot of hype. But I don't know if he had the Jalen Sauce Gardner kind of hype, if I'm being honest. Okay. I think they might have reached a little bit higher. I'm not sure everybody loved Akuta in like the top 5. But I think everybody liked him as the top corner. To you, like, I think there was going into that draft, there was a lot of separation. What was wild about that draft is that C.J. Henderson got picked number 9 overall, and not many people thought that was going to happen. Of course, thank you, Jacksonville Jaguars. But I'm telling you, the corner. I don't know if anybody has a top corner.
Yeah.
It seems to change everything you see. And when you have that, I think that is trying to find the top corner. And I also think you're probably likely to miss on who's going to be the top corner. To me, I don't see a corner going before number 15. Yeah. Maybe it's Arnold to Indianapolis or somebody. But I think there are going to be a lot of corners taking from the mid-round of the first round to the end of the second round, maybe even into the third. But let's just talk about top 2 rounds. And when you have that, Austin, we're going to go to the draft luncheon next week in Jacksonville, and we're going to ask this question, and this is what Balky or Peterson are going to say. We're going to say, so how many first-rounders are there really in this draft? How many do you think are really first-round values? Yeah. And they're probably going to say something like 18 to 22. They're not going to say 32, most likely. Now, they might. Maybe it's a crazy draft, and you say 40. Like, maybe it's on that side. Most likely, though, they're going to say 18 to 22. When you're taking a corner at number 15 or 17 or 22, that probably isn't a first-round grade from the team on the board.
Yeah.
There's a really good chance it's a second-round grade even to begin with, and a lot of these corners might have that.
So it's interesting looking back on the Jeff Okudah like draft commentary and then like the combine commentary. It's from NFL.com as well. Here's a little bit of an overview. Obviously, first-round draft projection. NFL comparison was Patrick Peterson, which is a pretty good comparison. Head coach and general manager's dream prospect with a blue-chip physical trait, mental makeup, and personal character. He has the size, length, and foot quickness to be roadblock, press release, and elite closing burst to close catch windows or eliminate yards after catch. He has room for improvement with recognition, but quarterbacks rarely target him and beat him over the top. And then it goes on to say, talent and recovery speed can make him one of the top shutdown corners in the game for years to come. You know, I mean,
pretty high on him.
Really high on him, and it goes to show you, like, not everyone. Once again, I think injuries definitely played, a part in this. But even a sure thing, like I think a lot of people thought Jeff Okudah was going to be. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get Jeff Okudah. Sometimes you get Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll see. And by the way, he's still got time to still have a very nice career.
He's got a pretty. Yeah, I mean, but I think he's I think where the Lions drafted him right now, they would be like, yeah, let's redo that.
Obviously not. Not for what they got. All right, let's take time out. We come back. We still have NBA Slam Poetry on the way. We've got Friday Fits from the Masters, which really could get interesting, especially Jason Day. Holy cow. And we will give you an update on the Masters. We're live at BestBet St. Augustine. We're here until 1 o'clock. We're back at it next Friday as well. Look, see some of those the merchandise here at BestBet St. Augustine. We might throw them into the goodie bag as well when we have the studio audience live here at BestBet St. Augustine on May 3rd. But you can join us, and it's a little more intimate maybe, next Friday, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. here at BestBet St. Augustine. It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part? They did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store, either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms, from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need Spring Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
$1,500 high hands, April 19th and 20th, and that is next week right here at BestBet St. Augustine, also in Orange Park and in BestBet Jacksonville off Monument Road. We will be here on that April 19th. That's next week, by the way, with our show, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. So love hanging out here at BestBet St. Augustine, and a lot of folks over in the bar area enjoying that menu, and a lot of people playing some games and poker right over there. And behind us, obviously, you got the TVs, and be a big weekend here at BestBet St. Augustine. And there's a heck of a deal on Thursdays between 7 and 10 p.m. Every 20 minutes, someone coming away with $100. So good to be here as always. And we're here twice a month. We'll be here next week as well with the show. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Jason Hamby, Brent and Austin Show. Don't forget, you can check us out on the Action News Jax app and on actionnewsjax.com. It's our Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. It's new. We are basically in month 2 of our brand new network, first of its kind in Jacksonville, and show you can catch each and every day. It will be replayed throughout the day as our show, but we've got more content coming soon, so stay tuned, because we already do Cup Date and No Gate Fees and A Week with Action Sports Jax on Wednesdays, and replay that throughout some of the rest of the week. But we've got more content in the works and being worked on, so what this looks like in a couple of more months and 6 months and in a year is going to be totally different. It's not just our show on the network, so make sure you look it up, download the app. That's the easiest way to get it, but you can also check it out, actionnewsjax.com. And of course, you check out our show each and every day on all the social media platforms, and we appreciate you being a part of it. Love the chat. The chat's been hopping ever since we got going back with the show in early February, and good to have you guys out there as well. And maybe some of you can come visit us on May 3rd as we have a studio audience show planned for right here at Best Bet St. Augustine. That'll be one heck of a way to get into the Derby weekend, and Luke Combs in town that weekend as well in Jacksonville for a couple of nights. The Masters, let's give you an update on what's going on at Augusta National as they are in round 2. They're basically back on time at the Masters, so it'll be a typical Friday. They'll finish it in time. Max Homa, Bryson DeChambeau tied for the lead at 7 under par. Scotty Scheffler tees off at 2 o'clock, and then he'll be tied for the lead or in the lead most likely. I mean, holy cow. Is he good or what? Cameron Young, 3 under in his first 8 holes today. He's 5 under now for the golf tournament. And more importantly, at least for right now, until we start to see the leaderboard take shape, where is the cut going to be? And the cut right now is at 2 over par. So if you're 2 over or better, you can make the weekend. Well, right now, Tiger Woods is on a little bit of a roller coaster. He bogeyed the 3rd hole. He birdied the 4th hole, birdied the 5th hole, and no, I'm sorry. Let me do that again. Birdied the 3rd hole, bogeyed the 4th hole, bogeyed the 5th hole, birdied the 6th hole, bogeyed the 7th hole. So he's just trying to make a par, maybe, somewhere, and get this thing steadied out.
Find that wave.
I think the cut line's going to move to 3 over. So we'll see exactly what it looks like when that's if that happens. Hey, Hamby, Friday fits. We do a little bit different from the road, right? Well, do you have Jason Day's outfits for the last couple of days?
Yes, I do.
Because last week we went players. We really got the golf attire going. We'll switch that up next week. But for Friday, look what he's wearing today, Austen Lane. What is this?
Okay, so I'm sorry, first of all. I was under the impression that the Masters was like a prestigious event, kind of like, you know, Wimbledon. We had to like wear a certain...
I agree with you. It's the first thing I thought of. It's like how they let him in with that.
Yeah, I don't know how you can call yourselves, you know, a place like no other, a tradition like no other, and let somebody in the golf course that has Times New Roman puked all over their vest. And keep in mind, Brent, so I know we didn't do Friday Pits today with these guys, so I did my homework and I didn't watch a single round of golf yesterday. So this is me doing my homework for you. Being professional. I didn't see any of these pictures. I don't know so who's this guy right here?
That's Jason Day.
Yeah. Bounce him out of here.
Well, he might bounce himself out of here. I think he's over the cut line.
I'm sorry, what does his shirt say? It says number 313.
Do you know what this even means?
No. Got no clue.
Like, I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means.
He looks like a walking NASCAR. Like, look at all this stuff he's got. Like, the hat has 3 different logos. The vest has 4 different logos. It's craziness.
Hamby, do you have yesterday's? I mean, what's yesterday's outfit, or do you have it or not, or do you want me to just describe it on Jason Day?
Yeah, just
because this is a guy
he's not American. Where was he from?
He's from Australia. He's not known. By the way, that might be an Australian thing, right?
Yeah,
but he's not known as like a crazy dresser or anything like that. Like,
it's Malbon.
If
I
you
don't know
don't
what that is, but it's a sponsorship. Malbon.
Yeah, so it's a sponsor. I'm surprised you're allowed to have like the sponsorship take up that much.
Yeah, Malbon.
Usually you have like a patch or something like that.
Yeah.
But I wonder.
I'm surprised someone didn't say something then.
Well, they might after.
I hope so. So it's ridiculous. And what is Malbon? So they make golf stuff?
It must be something from Australia, right?
I mean, Malbon sounds like something you'd put like, it's like Theragic, like something like, my knees hurt. Go put some Malbon on. Hey, I'm Jason Day for Malbon. I have arthritis in my wrist.
No, I think this
old.
This seems like his country club, like his hometown country club's championship, because it says Malbon Golf Championship. That's the other thing. I'm surprised you could even do that at the Masters. I don't know what number 313 is. Well, there's no doubt somebody will have a whole description and article about what is wearing.
Can't wait.
Now, yesterday he wore the baggy pants.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of this, Brent.
Let's see if we can. That's kind of not easy to see, but I think Hamby's going to move that picture a little bit, is my guess.
There we go.
Now, look, that's like
MC Hammer Pants?
A little bit of MC Hammer Pants going on from Jason Day. And it was windy, so these things were puffed out most of the day at Augusta.
Now, listen, from a performance advantage, I'm not going to lie, like, some of these khakis that these guys wear look a little too tight for my liking. So, like, I mean, if you're talking about hip mobility and that end range, I'm not mad at the baggy pants. Now, once again, do you look a little ridiculous at the Masters? Well, yeah, because, like, I feel like it's the place where you got to showcase just being subtle, it's like being classy. The pants are a little baggy for my liking, but I get if it's going to be is he winning?
No, he's probably not going to make the cut.
Yeah, then forget it. Get him out of here.
Thankfully, Jason Day is an all-world guy. Really cool guy. But I don't think we're going to have to worry about his outfits on Saturday or Sunday. It looks like.
Yeah.
What do you got, Amby?
All right, Austin, I need your thoughts on this guy and if he is winning.
Hey, that's a good-looking guy.
So much more awkward. I'm sitting like an inch away from him. Like, it's better when I'm sitting across from him. I'm in like a different studio.
Now that's a solid Masters outfit.
I'm not gonna lie, Brent. You look good here. How's the camera shot? How is this done? It's like a fisheye.
Yeah, well, this is a GoPro.
Okay.
Because you can't have your cameras you can't have your phones out there.
Oh, I don't like that.
You can't have your phones at Augusta
at all.
Well, they can't. Yeah, you can't enter the property.
Is it a fresh comedy show where they're worried about like stuff leaking out? What are you talking about? You can't have your camera out.
No, they go old school, traditional at Augusta, where like even us, we can have it in the media center, but we can't walk out of the building with it.
Okay.
So nobody that is at Augusta, has a phone on them.
Now, can you have a GoPro or just break the rules?
But you can have video, and you will see this. They are like keeping the digital cameras in business. Do you know people even had those still?
I didn't know those were still a thing, like the Polaroids.
Yeah, they that's what you see
Kodaks
out there.
Okay, so Jason Day can wear that, but you can't have camera or you can't have phones on the pick a lane, though,
Yeah.
Let's go and pick a lane, Augusta.
Magnolia Lane it is.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not too mad at this, man. You're rocking that minty 3/4 zip here. Is that a Masters?
That's a Masters 3/4 zip.
I have an issue with that though. Right, like you're not gonna go to Garth Brooks concert and wear a Garth Brooks T-shirt.
I know you guys have
people are
said
gonna call
that
you. People are gonna call you out.
That doesn't happen?
No. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, usually as somebody in the business, I don't wear a logo of something I'm covering. Like, I'm not going to go cover the Jags and wear Jags.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The golf is a little... I've found this, because I actually questioned myself on this sometimes.
Please.
But between the Masters and the Players' Championship, it's like the one time I bend that rule. And I don't really know why. I think it's just because I probably have a lot of them.
Yeah, well, and like I get it. Like, obviously, if you have your favorite sports team, you're going to do that. But I lean more towards like the concert setting for this, where if you're going to see your favorite artist, you don't wear that artist T-shirt. Be a little cooler. So I like the color. The shades. They're doing the shade things. Khakis, because I feel like that's the official pant of anybody we saw yesterday.
Yes.
At the golf course, we saw that 15-minute video of you and Stewart, but I'm not a big fan of the logo, Brent. I'll be honest.
One last thing, Hamby, do you have Sergio Garcia?
Nope.
Ooh, bring a little European connection to it.
You got another one? What is this? The new coach from
this
BYU
is the
to
new
Kentucky?
Head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats.
This is him recently, or this is when he used to play?
Yeah, he used to play. Mark Pope, right?
This is back
is
in
this
the day.
recently, or is this like when he played?
BYU? No, this is a couple years ago. Look in the back, you see BYU. He was because he's coming from BYU.
Yeah.
He's a coach there. He was doing a video to pump up or whatever, sending whatever, and he did the Kentucky. I pulled this from a video, doing the Kentucky chant, and yeah, that's the new head coach.
So
of the most
here's the thing,
illustrious.
I don't know if it's as illustrious as it once was, considering they took a while to get Pope.
Well, I'm glad Handy brought this to my attention. Didn't know this shot existed. So, by my understanding, Kentucky hired this guy because, well, he's really wants to be in Kentucky, right? Like he's like in his interview, like he was so dramatic of like, this is my dream. I want to do this. So, like, okay, so you bring him in because of that. Is that necessarily a good thing to hire someone who is? I mean, I get like you're hungry, but it's also like kind of like your dream. Like it's almost like you're desperate in a way.
Yeah. It feels like they got a little. I don't know about desperate,
Well,
but they
get desperate to go there. Is my point.
Yeah, but I think it's more desperation in a sense on Kentucky's part.
Okay.
They did not want to get by this week. Lingering, being turned down by Drew, being turned down essentially by Hurley, being left by Calipari. Like they were like, we got the quick answer.
Yeah.
Now, how far down did they have to go down their list? I mean, you look, Rex Chapman said this guy's all-world guy, good guy, he's going to do a good job there. Who knows? Maybe he's a really good coach. I mean, I think he's done a good job at BYU. So, I mean, maybe it makes some sense. But first of all, BYU to Kentucky it feels like a no-brainer.
Well, yeah, for sure. No, I'm saying from Kentucky's standpoint, like it seemed like you hired the most desperate guy. Like I gotta have this job, that's my dream job, and it's like sometimes the most desperate aren't the best candidates.
Yeah, I agree. I think there is a little dose of desperation here on the Kentucky side of things.
Yeah,
and I'm just stunned. Like I said, some guy was like, "You don't know. This is a terrible take. You don't know Kentucky basketball." It's like I don't need to know Kentucky basketball, dude. You're still stuck in 1992. The bottom line is they got left at the altar by Calipari, basically, in one way, shape, or form, it didn't work out. Did they want him out somewhat? Maybe. But Arkansas got Calipari.
Sure.
And Arkansas has a better coach now than your guy that you have at Kentucky. And Hurley and Drew and others flew there, or at least were interested, and didn't get it. So,
well, yeah, but this is the point, though.
Didn't want it.
Yeah, I get you got left at the altar. But then your rebound chick is like the most obsessed person you could ever get with?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Brent, look at Hammy, bring back the first picture. A little bit. There's red flags all over this guy.
Well, there have been red flags all over that guy, too.
You don't mean a red flag right there? A little obsessed?
He should probably do this at his introductory news conference.
Oh, yeah, please. I'm going to go and break that down because the John Calipari video yesterday, made me almost cry. I was laughing so hard.
Hey, Hamby, let's do. By the way, if you did get a look at Sergio yesterday, I know we don't have it. He looks like he is sponsoring Sprite. It was green and dynamic yellow.
I'll check it out.
Just say that. Hamby, let's take a break. We come back. We'll put a bow on the show with NBA Slam Poetry. A little bit more on the events going on here at BestBet St. Augustine the next couple of weeks, and what else is happening at Augusta and the Masters leaderboard. If you have not caught up to that, as it's been a busy week and a big week in Jacksonville with the signing of Josh Allen to a 5-year extension, $150 million. Good time in Jacksonville. Will they make one more move before the draft in a couple of weeks? We'll be back on the Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. a friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville Orange Park and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part, they did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained. And they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
There's Sergio. He's representing Sprite and the Masters. He's got the green and the yellow. I mean, that is quite the I guess they've loosened things up at Augusta in terms of what you can wear on the golf course. Brent Martineau, along with Austen Lane, Jason Hamby, Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. That is not Austen Lane. Here we go. Get ready for the fight.
Big UFC
300. Big shoes to fill. Big fists to fill.
No kidding.
Maybe instead, Jesse Hollander with us from Best Bet, not just St. Augustine, Jacksonville, Orange Park. And you guys have some big stuff going on. A couple minutes before we get to NBA Slam Poetry, unless you want to write a poem before the end of the show. That's what Austin will finish things up with on a week. You got there a $200 buy-in for the St. Augustine Championship, $100,000 prize pool guarantee. Big weekend.
That's right. We got our $200 buy-in stack, St. Augustine Championship. It started last night with a very good start, close to 160 players. Today we fired off our flight number 2 at noon, and then we'll have another flight this evening at 6, 2 more tomorrow. Everybody that makes it through these flights, the top 10% of the field, all return Sunday to play for all the money.
So this 12 o'clock flight, that's what we're seeing over there. Right? They're involved in. You got another one at 6 o'clock, another tomorrow at noon and 6 to get into that Sunday.
And you can play any or all of the flights. If you make it to the top 10%, we bag up your chips, literally put them in a bag, give them back to you on Sunday. If you bag chips, but maybe you don't have a really big stack and you want to go for more, you can play another flight. If you bag chips again, you get a $500 bonus.
Oh, wow.
Only your largest stack goes forward into day 2.
So really maybe multiple chances to win.
That's right.
No harm done. And then next week you got high hands, $1,500, big weekend next Friday and Saturday. We'll actually help kick that off here with the show. We'll be back here at Best Bet St. Augustine, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. That starts at noon.
That's right. And our promotion starts at noon. It's $1,500 every 30 minutes, as you said, and that's our cash promotion. That's it. It's a highest hand of the every 30 minutes. You win $1,500. That's all day Friday and all day Saturday, noon to noon.
National Poker Day next Friday.
Yeah, National Poker Day. Obviously I knew that, but
I know it's National Everything Day.
That's right.
Now, right? So I'm not a huge fan of the dates, but I'll be a big fan of National Poker Day.
Absolutely.
Maybe National Brent Martineau Day, National Action Sports Jacks Day as well, coming up on Friday. You got the Masters, you got obviously the pari-mutuels, you got the table games, you got the big events this weekend and next weekend. Probably had a nice turnout for March Madness, as that tournament's now in the books too.
That's right. That was a great tournament. A lot of people here come to Aces Sports Bar and watch all the games. It's a great place. I just walked by and watching all the Masters action. I was like, wow, what a great place. You can see everything that's going on.
Now, you got to come down and check it out. Clean room, fun room, and there's a lot to do. In between some of the action, you go play some table games, but you can watch the action, eat food, great food, drink, and a lot of things to do to keep your attention here at Best Bet St. Augustine. And Jesse, appreciate you hanging out with us for a couple minutes. We're going to hand the microphone off to Austin, unless you want to do NBA Slam Poetry.
No, I will leave the poetry and the fighting to Austin.
That's good. That's good. You go the high hands. He's got
That's right. I'll handle
different kind of hands.
That's right.
Thanks for having us once again. Jesse Hollander from Best Bet St. Augustine. Always good to catch up with him. And, Habby, we will finish with NBA Slam Poetry. What a week it's been here in Jacksonville with the Josh Allen news. But, the Aces Bar. You got the music here over at the Aces.
I like it, man. I feel like this is good ambiance for this place right here.
Perfect.
It really fits the narrative well. Are we ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
All right, time is of the essence. Here we go. NBA Slam Poetry. It's just a strain on Giannis, so the Bucks season's not up in smoke. Was it Billy? Was it Hurley? Nah, it was a BYU coach. UK has lost all hope.
Ironically, his name is Pope.
Were you surprised Billy Donovan didn't get a phone call? Did you see that?
I mean, they knew he was going to say no.
Okay. CJ McCollum is a rude boy, a diamond, a savage Fenty. He can even carry Zion, going 9 for 12 from the land of good and plenty. 9 for 12 last night for CJ McCollum, by the way, savage Fenty. Shout out to Rihanna. Jalen is the real Brunson, all due respect to Tom Hardy. Mavs are on a roll. They went from a C team to a solid B. We'll call him Cardi. This one might... Okay, this one's okay. Jokic is the MVP.
Lower your voice?
Sorry. Jokic is the MVP. He said he wanted more than 2. Put up 41 against Rudy, disrespecting a Frenchman like Napoleon at Waterloo.
You go into history books here.
Hit him, Bambi. I'm not sure if that's too soon or not. I'm not sure there's many French people in the house, how they feel about
You just hit English class with the poetry and the history.
Brent, I'm covering all bases today, man.
Wow.
We had Rihanna before, in case you didn't pay attention. Lakers are 6 feet from the edge. Let's go ahead and call him Creed. Hey, good luck to whoever drafts Bronny. You also get the king, and he'll lead you to a playing game. It's not a playoff seat. That's what the Lakers are doing right now.
Yeah, that's what they're getting.
Yeah. Jonte Porter might get banned. An eye injury has got him in a little tippy. Not sure what's more stupid. Taking an injury for a prop bet or putting John Smoltz before Ken Griffey.
Ooh, Hamby, that's on you.
Talking to you, Hamby.
I hit it. Don't worry.
Vibed himself. And last but not least, this was NBA Slam Poetry. I hope it was fun and you had a whirl. Shout out to the tourney. I'm not talking about the men. Call me Martina McBride because this one was for the girls.
Oh, very good.
Like that?
Yeah,
For Martina McBride?
I mean,
Man, we covered a lot of bases today.
Another country mentioned.
Yes.
After our country AI song for Shock Your Mox.
For sure.
Hip-hop. What genre was the other one? Rock?
It was rock, and yesterday we featured kids, like a kids chant. And Brent,
Yes.
I mean, I'm not sure if you've heard the interwebs talking, but we got a banger on our hands.
All right. I like
just
this. I like what
upset-
you've done. Shock Your... Go ahead.
I'm just upset that anywhere in the slam poetry we didn't get some tardy timing to flip and run, or maybe a little short area shake with some quick hitters.
Hey, still plenty of time for next week, Hamby, and we
Short
tried that with the
area
song.
shake.
And get it, Brent? Can we give him a dance?
Can
Hey, what
I
happens
get that
if
one
we
more
see
time?
Josh
We got a
Allen pull
little
us out for a
time.
sack dance next year?
Yes. Hey, I want to real quick. We have like a minute to go in the show, but how did we not? Did you guys talk about Otani Interpreter and how much money actually was?
No, we
changing
Nope.
hands. He
That
won like
was- it came
140. Was that real?
Came out right after the show yesterday. 16 million.
Wait, so he won $16 million?
Nope.
No, he
Wait.
lost 16 million.
Oh, okay.
But the amount of money he was betting was crazy. Just crazy. And some of the now they have text messages and everything else. I mean,
Yeah.
This dude was in pretty deep. And Otani's tied to it. Now, I guess he didn't bet on baseball. That's what also they said.
Oh,
Pretty
sure he
amazing.
didn't.
The amount of money
Sure he
that he
did.
bet and didn't bet on baseball. That's what apparently is the case.
Bet on horse racing and stuff.
Yeah, there we go. Right here.
Esports.
There we go.
Yep.
All right, that's going to do it for a week. The Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network Brent Austin Show. We have Action Sports Shacks primetime all weekend, 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47, and Shock Your Mock returns on Mondays. We get closer to the draft. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for joining us from Best Bet St. Augustine.